Yeah.
Really? Are we live? Are you kidding me? We're actually live? It started
says live right there.
There's like
See it?
0
Right
people
there.
there.
It says
Oh,
live.
because you just clicked the live thing.
Oh, you
I have
clicked
to
the
make
live
a new stream because it's.
I gotta move over.
So there, yeah, come on over.
Gotta move
Squeeze in.
over.
We're longtime friends. We
Gotta
can get
move over.
comfy. Come on, Lauren.
I'm here. I'm here.
Well, we have all of one. Hey, one person. Thank you very much.
Who is it? Who is
Oh,
it?
because he had to start a new stream. Do they know to
right,
switch
right.
over?
We'll find out.
Here, I gotta move all this
See more
stuff.
people or we won't.
Nah, we'll just it's Alan Toy, and we'll just give him a show.
Hiya. Oh.
At this point, we'll do. Hey, yeah, there you go. All right, cool. We're fine. It's starting to get people in. Yeah, we got to switch over the streams, I think,
There's 3 now.
from the other phone. All right, good.
Somebody
we got.
said hi. Warren. Christopher.
Hi.
Hello.
Christopher Bird Trucking,
Yep.
fantastic. Hi, Warren. It's David
And
Broke
Broke
Gambler.
Gambler.
That's a lot of people all at once just came into the channel.
Right?
That's
right?
like
Yeah. I don't know. It says there's 3 people, but I'm seeing a
hello,
lot of different
Nani.
names here.
Yeah, Jesse.
Oh,
Okay, so
16.
it's fired
Okay.
up.
There
so
we go. Here we
it takes
go.
a minute because the people have to move over from the other stream. Is that what it is?
Yeah, plus YouTube pushing out the notification.
Yeah, 100%. All right, hello guys. We're doing this live at Ellis, so a little bit of a technical hurdles and some internet issues.
You can see behind us, Ellis.
Yeah,
See the
we
sign?
got Ellis behind us. It's fantastic. I brought Lauren here today. We're gonna do a show about so it's basically our experience as dealers, more like the life of. You know, what I mean, I want to share not so much. We talk a lot about hi grandpa. Oh my god, this guy.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We
yeah. Yes, I'm back.
There's some spanking. Lauren's back.
Lauren's
Hi,
back.
Lauren.
Right.
We've
For
had.
anybody who might have missed me, I know David thinks none of you out there care about me, but
I
for
know. I
anybody who might have
hate.
missed me,
We had
I'm back.
both of Lauren's fans showed up at the school today. No, that's pretty good. 100% of the people that showed up are really. My other appointment today also remembers. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. So we're gonna get started on this. We'll let people catch up as we go. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't already, Lauren is actually working on some videos for us. She's gonna be on Learning Channel, and we're starting to kind of move the schedule. So up until recently, we've had a different schedule. And
Yeah.
Lauren obviously works still. She still works as a dealer. But now I think we'll be better sync. But okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is going to be an exciting YouTube video. Now, if we get to 100 likes, we're going to give away a hat. I don't even have a hat to represent it. If we get another 100 likes, we'll give away a t-shirt. We're going to give away this t-shirt. It's the Look at You Buddy t-shirt. Look at You Buddy t-shirt. And yeah, so we get to 200 likes. If we give the 250 likes, we're going to send Alan Toy to your house for a free massage, buddy. You just got to send us the address, and Alan Toy will come over and hook you guys up. It's fantastic. I got to say, he has some skilled hands. He's a hugger. So you know he's got some good hands to work there. All right. So here's the thing. I laid out some notes, and I think this is going to be pretty cool. This is going to be a little different take about pass. I like this chair. Pass on the massage.
And the back too says.
At the back says 100%.
100%.
By the way, the quick oh my God! Thank you so much. Baldur's Gate is gonna be lit. Is that? I think that's. Yeah. We're gonna start playing a co-op. So if we have some fans that play Baldur's Gate, we plan on playing some Baldur's Gate. But there's a limit.
What is that?
Baldur's Gate 3. It's a game that's coming out. All right. We got to get back to the dealing thing. So if you don't already know, we're in Vegas. Me and Lauren combined have 63 years of casino experience, I should say.
Yeah.
63 years between these two people here. That's quite stunning, dude.
It's a lot of years.
That's a lot of years.
It's a lot of years.
Whoever thought we'd be? And what I wanted to show is I had a little different path. I think Lauren had a very career-oriented path, even though she's been a dealer. But in terms of going along, becoming a dealer, it was very specific, and she knew what jobs she wanted to move to, and sort of had this evolution. So I'm going to start a little bit. We're going to have Lauren add some context, and I'm going to start. So we're at Ellis Island Casino. This is just east of the Flamingo and.
Coin Fisher, I thought he started dealing in the 60s too, but apparently
oh my God.
he keeps reminding me that I'm older than him. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
not.
60s. Imagine that. That'd have been so cool. I could have worked for like Bugsy Siegel and done all that stuff.
That's right.
I don't know if he was still around. But so what I wanted to do is I wanted to share a little bit about my kind of experience. And it's a bit interesting. I had a very disconnected experience with dealing. I never thought I would be a dealer, to be honest with you. So the school, so when I first came into Vegas, the only reason I became a dealer is I had won some money at the Glitter Gulch. Bob Stupak owned the Glitter Gulch. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
He had you could see the sign, and under it you could see. I had no idea. Someone showed me a sign years later, and it's literally Bob Stupak.
I didn't know
Glitter
that.
Gulch. So you remember the girls would be out there trying to lure
Yes.
people in, and
Yes.
they had the whole thing. So I win. I go in there. So I broke down in Vegas with my wife, or with my
Like broke down, like your car broke down.
car broke
Okay.
down. I had to move into this temporary place, and so I had no design of getting a job. Up to then, I was working as an extra and a stand-in. Short poles in front of the old horseback for tying up. Okay, well that's way before our time. My God, there were no horses. All right, but let me get through this. So it's, at some point, you keep track of this, and then we're gonna
Keep
get
talking.
to some questions later. Dennis, are you gonna keep track of the thing or no?
I can.
All right, he can. All right, so we're gonna get to the questions later, and then we're
Or
gonna
you can just
talk.
click this. Top chat. And
Oh,
it'll
really?
Show up right here.
Oh, it'll show
And
here.
You can click on the super chat.
Where? We
Okay,
have it
okay.
right there.
Yeah. Thank you, Dual Monsters. I think
That's Reno.
That's Reno. Oh my God.
That's Reno?
Save your money for
Reno.
battles. Yeah, I knew that. I thought that was Reno. Here. Let's get a heart to Reno. Oh, wait.
Oh.
What? Okay. So here's the story. Ready? I break down.
Yeah.
I'm at Rancho. I'm going stir crazy.
Okay.
I'm way up the street at Rancho.
Okay.
I'm going stir crazy. I go downtown. I've only been in Vegas like 3 days. I go into the Glitter Gulch. I have $20 bill on me.
Uh-huh.
I have $20. Like I might have $24 for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that at that time I only need $1 to eat lunch. Really?
Right. Yep.
I go to Lady
Yep.
Luck.
Yep.
Get a hot dog.
Yep.
Okay, because back then Lady Luck
Back then,
$1.
it was a hot dog or a shrimp cocktail.
Yep, $1. Well,
Right,
shrimp
for $1.
cocktails were still 75 cents.
Oh,
when I
okay.
went. So I know there's
Okay.
been a big debate. When I was at the gate, 75 cents. But then anyway, could have gotten that at a drink. Okay, so I go downtown. I go play at the Glitter Gulch. The girls, they lure me right in. I put my $20. They give me a stack of silver.
Uh-huh.
It's only dollar machines.
Right.
I play.
Right.
And I win $250-ish.
Nice.
They draw me into betting $50 back, but I leave there with $200 because I got diapers to pay for. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
You know that's
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
bills, and this is a nice little cushion, which at the time I had zero cushion. So I'm walking down Fremont Street, just looking around. Again, no plan on becoming a dealer. I have no clue about gaming, casinos. This is I have played games before. The very first casino I walked into was Atlantic City Bally's. Way back in the day, but I knew nothing about being a dealer. I knew nothing about the gaming environment. As I'm walking down the street, I get down to, Las Vegas Boulevard, somewhere around there. A lady comes out and she asked me if I become considering being a dealer. And she goes right into the thing about how I can get grants and I can pay my bills and I can get money to go to school and all this
Okay.
other stuff, right?
All right.
Unlike now, because now we don't really do that. Our school is so cheap. Oh my God! Hold on a second. Our school is so cheap.
We're busy. Who
Yeah,
is
we're
that?
busy. I don't know. I always forget to put my phone on D&D. Here, let me put the phone on D. So anyway, so she invites me into the school. I sign up at the school, and I'm getting how do I put the D&D, buddy? Oh my God. Okay, there it is. I got it. Never mind. I didn't boomer myself. Thank you. So I go to this dealing school, and it's a terrible dealing school. I think all the dealing schools
So
at
it
the
was-
time
oh.
were very disconnected. It was on
Yeah, yeah.
Ogden and 6th, I believe.
Okay.
So it's
There
close
was
to
a lot of
downtown.
different schools
There were a
back
lot of
then.
schools. So that's true. So we the school that I went to was $3,000. $3,000 for 3 games.
Holy
It was
crap.
$1,000, but it was all on grants and
Okay.
loans,
All
student
right.
loans.
Okay.
And I got $250 a week to go to school, extra cash in my pocket. So like I was really more interested in that.
From who?
From the government. It was part of
Oh,
like
wow.
the government because I
Okay.
had no
All right.
money. I had a
Cool.
child. You know what I
Cool.
mean? They
Yeah,
they
yeah.
hooked me up. So it's part of the Pell Grant, that kind of thing. So I go to the
Right.
school. It's a terrible school. And after a certain amount of time, they basically kick you out and tell you, listen, you have to go start auditioning, right?
Okay.
So I'm walking back, and I know I've shared a bit of this story with some of you guys, but I'm walking out, and I get to the same corner pretty much that I started. That I ran into this woman, and I see some people there, and I'm curious, like, should I go to the gate? Because the guy told me either go walk to the Golden Gate, or walk to the El Cortez. Okay, and I don't know where to go. I don't know what these casinos are like. I've never really played there. I only played at the Glitter Gulch. I never even played, anything else, right? So I speak to someone. I think it was a woman. Maybe there was somebody, and she's like, and I'm trying to ask her like, wait, which casino would you work at? And she's like, well, the El Cortez is a bit divey. You know what I mean? Because it was still a bit divey back then. The Golden Gate, she's like, it's fresh. It's right there. It's got a lot more history. Although El Cortez, anyways, I go to the gate. I go to the Golden Gate. And so in a minute, I'm going to share your audition story. You're going to share your audition story. So once we get, so I go to the gate, and I'm nervous like you can't believe, right? I don't know why I'm nervous. If I had known how little money I made at the Golden Gate, I probably wouldn't have been so nervous.
Right.
Because it wasn't a lot, but let me tell you. So I go in there, I meet this kind of short, bald guy. His name is Sal Bruno, who's kind of famous because he was like this, gnarly pit boss, some, old school Vegas guy, always yelling, and he's got a bad attitude, he's got bad odor, and you know what I mean? It's just everything about him, it's just Vegas. And he points over to this table and he says, go see that lady over there, and they put me on a game to audition. So I'm auditioning, and all of a sudden I hear in the background, put it in your pocket. Put it in your pocket. And I'm nervous, and the only thing I have in my hand is a card. I have a card in my hand, and I take the card and I put it in my pocket. Because back then you had to wear a pocket to put your tips.
Right.
What she meant to tell me was there were tips on the game, and then I should take the tips and put those in my pocket. But I had already taken the card off on the deck. Nice. And so I was like, well, put the card in the pocket, and I kept going. Right. I kept working those hands around the table. Meanwhile, I got one of the cards in my pocket, and they're like, listen, dude, you're not going to get through this audition very well. So the lady comes up to me. She gets me off the game. I've only dealt like 2 hands. I've failed. Right. Go see Sal. I know I failed. I mean, I didn't really, I was so flushed. Remember when you auditioned, you got all, I was so flushed and sweating. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get off this game. I need to go home and shower. I need to go say, I need to hug my baby. You know what I mean? I need to like remember that I'm a human. Because I was like, how the hell am I so nervous? Why am I shaking? I was shaking. All of a sudden, this woman in the background, she starts yelling, Sal, I need a mucker. And it's pretty funny because Lauren's always saying how important the mucker is.
The mucker is very important,
and so,
just so you know.
This lady's calling out, because they still had a dime game back then. I'm pretty sure it was a dime game.
I'm sure they did.
And so she, there's chips everywhere, a lot of stuff going on. So I end up mucking. And this lady can't stop yelling at me the whole time I'm there. Stop putting that, because I was trying to help her. I was trying to show that I knew how things played. She's like, don't help me with the bets. Which, by the way, I didn't even know that was a thing until the other day. I was like, Lauren, I was trying to help this. We don't want your help.
We don't want your help.
The muckers are just there to collect the chips.
Get the hell out of my way.
So I'm helping this lady. She can't stop yelling at me. And she's like, what are you doing? You're never going to make it in gaming. And she's going on and on. Like an hour later, I get off this game, free labor this whole time. I go see Sal, and Sal says, can you work tomorrow as a mucker? You're going to be okay working as a mucker? But anyways, that's how I got on the game. That's my first sort of, job on the game. Nowadays, it's a lot different thing. All right, so Lauren, share your break-in audition story. Go.
So when I went to dealer school, I was a player. I knew blackjack, I knew like Pai Gow, lots of the carnival games, roulette, all that. So I went through dealing school pretty quickly because back then they taught you one game and then they sent you out, and anything else you learned, one game, blackjack. Wow. That's it. So this was in Laughlin. I went to school in Bullhead City. There was a class at the college. There was a community college there. Took the class. 2 weeks later, go for my first audition at the Edgewater.
This is in Laughlin, by the way.
In Laughlin, the Edgewater.
And Edgewater is by kind of one of the original casinos. It's Laughlin's Edgewater. Right. That was literally like the guy that started Laughlin's casino.
No. The guy who started, that's the Riverside.
Oh, Riverside.
Riverside was first.
Yeah, Riverside first.
And then the Colorado Bell and the Edgewater were probably second and third. They were
Colorado
next to each other.
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
So I go in, and back then it was all pitch games. And it was very little shoe. I mean, you learned how to deal out of a shoe, but you're pitching a single deck. And there used to be 7 spots at the table. Yeah. Now there's 6, sometimes 5.
Humans have grown up since then. Right. We can't fit 7 normal humans around a table anymore.
Exactly. But back then,
7 spots.
30 years ago, right? So there's 7 spots. They put me in on the table. I shuffle the single deck. There's 7 people playing. I do the first. I give them all their first card. Then I give them all their second card. Then when I go to give myself my whole card, I don't have enough cards.
Yeah, the cards.
So, I'm like,
Also great. Yeah, Harris is great. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
I forgot. He's like, okay, just give yourself an up card, blah, blah, blah. Like, he takes care of it.
Oh, really?
I finish the hand. Good. So then I go
This
to
is
deal.
single deck?
Single deck.
Wow.
So I go to deal the second hand. The second hand, perfect. Everything beautiful. I pitch all the cards. They go where they're supposed to. I remember to give myself a card. Did everything beautifully, right?
Yeah.
I go to deal the third hand. I get about halfway through the hand. Well, the thing about 7 spots on a single deck, there's not enough cards to deal 3 hands.
Yeah, you can only do 2
So
hands.
then I ran out of cards.
Yeah, wow.
Right?
So you failed?
No, well, I thought for sure, like, oh my God, I'm like I'm sweating, I'm hot, I'm like humiliated. I think, oh my, they're gonna tell me to get out of the casino. Not only are they not gonna hire me, they don't even want me to play there, right? Like, get the hell out, don't ever come back. Is what I expected.
Really?
So I come off the game and I turn around to the guy who did my audition and he goes, "Can you start Friday night?"
No way.
I swear to God.
Really?
And I was like,
I thought this story was going to get sexy.
No.
No?
No.
No favors for a job?
Nothing. Just, can you start?
We got-
And I went, really?
Wow.
He goes, look, I can tell you can deal. I
Yeah.
can tell you've been
You
trained.
just
He
got
goes, you're
nervous.
nervous. And he goes, I get it.
That's
He goes,
awesome.
yeah, start Friday night. And I was
100%.
like, okay.
All right, ready? So
Okay.
how much money did you make? What was the average wage of your first job?
So I worked at the Edgewater for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And
in
then
Laughlin.
In Laughlin, Edgewater, 6 weeks. And
Yeah.
the average was about $25 a day.
Wow. $25 a day?
25,
That's big money.
25, 30 a
Yeah.
day. This was back in 93 is when I started.
Holy smokes.
Exactly 30 years ago.
Wow,
Right? I
25
just had
exactly.
my 30th anniversary of my
Good for
first
you.
day dealing, yeah.
Wow.
And we broke a bill twice.
David's always looking for beat up. What kind of community we got over here? Yeah, I was like, because I've heard things, not about you, but you know what I mean. Anyways, go right ahead.
If we broke a bill, that meant a $50 bill.
Oh,
Right? When dealers talk about breaking a bill in the business, that means
Yeah.
it's over $100.
Over 100, yeah. Is the
So
way to
back
go.
at the Edgewater in
Yeah.
93, if you broke
Wow.
a bill, that meant 50. The only time I
Wow.
made more than $100 twice, the whole time I worked there,
Yeah.
was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
2 days in a row, had to work 12 hours to do it.
Now, here's a
12
question.
hours, 107 and
Wow.
$112.
Those are your biggest
for 12 at that job.
So the question goes, now you were down there in Laughlin.
yeah,
Did you have a single wide or a double wide?
I rented.
So, I mean, no
rented
takeaway,
an
no takeaway,
actual
but
house.
it was a little bit on the outskirts at that
It-
time.
it
Laughlin
is.
was not what it is today. They've got, by the way, Laughlin has really grown up. They've actually gone out of
Laughlin
the way
has grown up.
to build apartments, but you had to live across the river, right? Isn't
I
that where
lived
most
in
people?
Bullhead City,
Yep, in
Arizona,
Arizona.
right?
Yeah, yep.
And it is definitely mobile home city.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. So there's a lot of single wides, double
That's why
wides.
I'm
There's
just
trailers. Yeah,
asking
yeah.
for context, dude.
But yeah, across the river in Bullhead
Yeah.
City. And here's another great
Yeah,
story. When
yeah.
I was at my second job,
Uh-oh.
I lived in Arizona and I worked in Nevada.
Oh, God.
And the time changes in Nevada, but it doesn't change in Arizona.
Yeah.
So my watch said that it was 8 o'clock, but it was really where I was working.
That's
it was
right.
7 o'clock. I got tapped out. I went home. It said 8 o'clock. I was off.
Oh, really?
I got all the way home.
And they read you.
my boyfriend that I was living with at the time was like, "You get off early?"
Oh, right.
I'm like, no.
I'm sure that happened to a lot of people.
Yeah,
By the way.
yeah,
Plus
so
all
I-
those taxes you paid, huh?
Oh,
You were paying
awful.
taxes, no?
Yeah.
Don't you wish you lived in one of those mobile homes on the other side?
No, it's cheaper to live. It's cheaper. The
Oh,
cost
really?
of living is cheaper in Arizona.
So you save
So
money.
you're
Really?
saving money on cost of living.
No
yeah,
way.
oh yeah.
That was a thing?
Rents were cheaper.
I will
Gas
say,
was cheaper.
when Harris
everything
first
cheaper.
opened, that was like the gem down there. Now, not so much, dude.
Yeah.
Lately, it's been, Colorado Bell, all oofier, although they've been going through renovation. I would say the Edgewater was a bit of the gem. The Tropicana, too, no?
Yeah.
Trop was nice.
Trop is nice.
But that was across
Trop
the street.
came
though.
later.
That came later.
Yeah, the Trop came later.
And it was like you didn't get an ocean view at the Trop. It was like across the street, which is weird, no?
Yes.
So that was a bit
Yeah.
day, but they made some money. All right, so
Right.
I'm going to give you so the idea is to give you guys some context of the thing. So I want to share with you sort of an interesting dynamic. So the Golden Gate downtown, 1 Fremont Street. I wouldn't say the guy that owned it was crazy. There was 2 brothers, I believe, that owned the place. I ran into them
Okay.
in the theater one time. And it was the middle of the summer, and they're like, he's wearing this weird suit. His wife's all decked out, and you know what I mean? It was just like
theater, like a movie theater.
like a movie theater. Yeah, they had to go to the movies too, dude.
Yeah, but
we didn't have
who gets
86
that sort of stuff
screens.
to go to the movies.
No, it was crazy, dude. It was crazy. And then people were like, "Oh my God, there's the owner of the Golden Gate," and I was like, "Really?" Now they eventually sold out. You know what I mean? But So when I went there, it was what they call, it was a lot of sweating the money.
Right.
And interesting, we used to have what type of thing? It was just a regular movie theater, you know what I mean?
Not like one of those XXX
No.
porno after dark.
Yeah.
No.
So the game that I used to deal on was a bird game, a 25-cent table.
Okay.
And even that table didn't get enough action. They would have to hire what's called a shill. They would have to hire somebody to come up to the game. They
Yep.
would, and you know, it was a big secret, like what they got paid and how they got reimbursed. But basically, the guy that would come up to this game, let's just say a friend of mine used to sell him something every now and then down the street. And I got to interact with him one time.
Gotcha.
And he lived at so Fremont Street was known a Pee Wee Herman type theater. That poor man has passed away. Let that poor man.
Right?
I love
I mean,
Pee Wee
like,
Herman.
you know,
dude.
the body's
I love
not
Pee
even
Wee
cold
Herman.
yet. It's
Yeah.
been 3 days, right?
It's too soon, but
Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman, man, that Pee Wee Herman
I mean,
Playhouse was
it
pretty
wasn't
funny. He
not
was
funny, but-
he was a kind of a genius comedian.
Yeah.
though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so down Fremont Street back in the day, and there still is. There's a lot of motels, a lot of Sal Segev. That was the old name before I think.
The owner?
Yeah, no, Vegas. It was called. That was before it was here. Let me see that.
I don't know how you go back to
here
that.
it
Oh,
is,
there
Sal
we go.
Segev Restaurant. Yeah,
Oh,
it was the Sal
restaurant,
Segev.
still there 30 years
so
ago.
I don't think so. I
I've
think
never
that
heard of
that just transitioned. So look what it says. It's Las Vegas backward.
Oh, okay.
That used to be the
Okay.
post right there.
Ah.
So that's someone who is there. I think that ended in the late '80s. I don't think the early '90s
Okay.
still had that. So that's a good. That's someone who's a little dated, dude. That could be. But anyway, so interestingly, what the hell was I saying? Oh my god. Oh yeah. So here they had this shill. About a year later, after me starting,
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend of mine who used to be a crap stealer at the Horseshoe by day and a little bit of a drug dealer by night. Let's
Little
just
bit.
say a little bit.
Weren't we all, though,
And,
really a little
I mean,
bit of
I don't know
drug
about the
dealer by
drug
night?
dealing thing. So they used to live quarter get back. They used to have a poor Snapper over here. Snapper's
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
holding
Hey,
on.
Snapper.
Hey Snapper, thanks for buying our shirts, sir. We have sold 2 of those. So I used to go. So down the street, there's a bunch of motels. Which man, I've got so many stories about the motels, and there was a casino that was down the street where they used to have carry. But anyways, so I run into this guy, and I'm like, how much they pay you? They would give him $60.
Okay.
And he had to play a certain way
Okay.
to kind of get people, entice them to play, come bets. You weren't allowed to play like, real strategies, and they
Right.
wanted you to play like some kind of tourist they would want a tourist to play. Big
Right.
come bets, pass line bets, real basic stuff.
Right.
And then the idea was he got to keep some of his winnings. So he would.
Okay.
The idea was so he would leave with $60.
Okay.
You know what I mean, for his shift basically.
Right.
Right. And then he really was like weirdly, I don't know, strange about the rest of it because I can imagine they had some whatever their own agreement. Maybe they paid him in drugs. I'm not sure.
Okay.
By the way, that guy died not too long later.
Right,
It's kind of
right.
weird. I was asked to go to his funeral. I'm like, dude, I don't know this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what's going
yeah,
on
yeah.
here? I don't need to go to funerals. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that guy. So they used to have a shill, and that was it because there's no longer a shill because people, if our community found out about a 25-cent game, there would never be a space to
Right,
play.
that's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's
It would
right.
Or any quarter game.
You don't need chills anymore.
So
We're busy enough now. We don't need chills anymore.
Yeah, 100%. So the interesting thing that the gate had, which I thought was so unique, like I thought I had the best job in the world because first of all, I only got paid $5 to $20 with the most tokes I think I've ever made at the gate when I worked there was $21.
Oh, wow. Wow.
$21.
What'd you do with all that money, David?
I know. So here's the thing that sucked about that. So if you're knowing that 2 bills. If there was ever a fat envelope, it was like $9.
Right.
You know
A
what I mean?
$5 and
$13.
$4 ones.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wanted it to
Yeah.
be really thin.
Right.
Then it was either a 5 or a 20. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You wanted it to be a thin
Yeah.
envelope, and they used to feed you. They actually fed you. Like I got a coupon to go get a hamburger, fries, and a shrimp cocktail.
Oh, wow.
At the gate, which is they were famous for shrimp cocktails,
Yeah,
right, at the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And you got. By the way, you got a little tired of the damn shrimp cocktail. Let me just say, like it was after a while, it got a little busy.
I would think if you're
After, like,
every night after
so
work,
3
yeah,
months of
every day,
shrimp
yeah.
cocktails.
Yeah.
You don't want to have any. You don't want to see another shrimp.
Right.
But I thought when I first got that job, I was like, holy crap, this is the best job in Vegas. I get to eat for free.
Yeah.
That's saving me a boatload of money. I didn't realize every other casino does that too, because I had no idea, right?
Right.
And so I worked there for probably a little longer than I should have, because I got myself into this routine where I would go to the plaza, play video games, walk across the street to the horseshoe and get high in their break room with my friend.
Okay.
That was a thing. Can you imagine? You could actually, if you knew somebody there, you go into the dealer break room, and you could hotbox yourself. Literally, you didn't even have to bring anything with you. You just sat in the room.
That was when I was those 6 weeks at the Edgewater. We had a dealer's room, and you walked in and you couldn't see anything because there's so much smoke in that room, and just
Yeah, you just wait for
get that contact high.
Well, Ted Binion was all about, doing as many drugs as possible. So his thing at the horseshoe, if you're a horseshoe dealer, this is an absolute fact. As long as you could stand, you were fine. Once you passed out, then you had to go home and sleep it off. But if you know the story about Teddy Binion, he ingested a lot of drugs. My guess is he's made himself over to that dealer's room a few times and partook. Maybe not. He's a boss, but who knows?
Right.
But anyway, so that very next job I went to, it was a really entertaining job. They had lots of characters. I had a guy bleed out on the game one time. Had another woman lose her breasts. I watched a guy turn to $5 stack.
Lose it.
Lose it on the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Not lose it.
And her husband I know. Her husband was talking to me at the time. This woman, older woman, just really well endowed woman.
Yeah. Fell right out of her dress, huh?
Both of them. So one went. When the one went, the other one went. And the husband was turned around, and I'm like telling the husband, I'm like, your wife is a little excited. I'm trying to get her, get his. And he's like, how excited? I'm like, well, let's just say the twins have arrived, okay? And he's like, yeah, but is she winning? And I was like, absolutely, she's winning. Well, don't tell her anything. Leave her alone. Let those twins go to work, dude. That was her thing, dude. Swear to God. And it's this old guy. They used to come in all the time. By the way, they're a fantastic couple. They're a bit older, boy. They love dice, and they just love to throw dice and be part. And that's that was a cheap game. That's all they could afford.
Yeah.
We had another guy, Red. He would bleed on the game a little bit, and that was always interesting to see that dynamic from today. Because if someone bleeds on the game now, that game is closed.
Oh yeah.
It's like they're biohazard.
Oh yeah.
Suits are coming in. People are going home. Hey! Look! You have another fan now.
Hi, barbecue. Rando, is it? Are you a student? No.
I don't know. Maybe,
Could be Rando.
So,
I don't know. Are you?
So we used to call him Red. And he used to wear a red sport jacket. And every now and then he would bleed onto the table. He would literally bleed. Now, if you could get ahead of it, you could put a towel down. He would bleed on the towel.
From how? From
dude,
what?
right on the flipping layout. Dude. His name was Red. Anybody worked at
but what? His nose was bleeding?
No, his hand. So he was an older guy. Not dry skin. He had paper. His skin was so thin it would just peel off and just. It was so. And Sal would just throw the paper towels, dude.
Okay.
It would just be like, let's wipe up after Red.
Okay.
They'd never close that game, dude. People would throw the dice and be a paper towel at the end of the other end of the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that the weirdest thing?
Yeah.
And
that's how it used to be.
I never saw that again anywhere I ever worked, right? But it was an interesting thing. There was never enough money for anybody to care. But did you ever deal and have the electricity shut down?
Yes.
Yeah,
we'll talk
I used to
about
deal
that
at the Imperial Palace. We've had the electricity shut down a few times. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
All right, so my next job, we'll talk about your next job. And the reason why he came to Vegas. So Lauren has been very lucky with the jobs that she's had.
Hence the name.
Yeah, Lucky Lauren. I have had the worst luck when it came to jobs. I had terrible credit. I just really, really bad. Until I got to the Rio. Rio, I got really lucky. I was picked one out of many people who auditioned, so that was great. But prior to that, I had just the worst luck, dude. I always looked really young, so people just never took me seriously. And I didn't have juice. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have breasts. You know what I mean? I think that was helpful for the blackjack pit sometimes.
Definitely,
you know what I'm saying?
back then, yes.
And so, I think my ass was a little bit, you know what I mean? Maybe needed a little bit of work. I don't know. Maybe there was something missing from my resume that I could never figure out. All right, so my very next job I go to is the Gold Coast. Okay, so imagine
from the Golden Gate.
From the Golden Gate. Now, I used to bicycle to the Gold Coast, or the Golden Gate. I would go downtown. Dealer from Mohegan Sun. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Our Virgin or some other? They have a bunch of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
All over.
I don't know.
Welcome. So we I used to bike, and then but the Gold Coast was a bit further for me, and so I bought rollerblades, and
thanks, Rando.
wow, look at the Lucky
Look at
Lauren fans are out
royalty.
tonight. Oh my God, yeah.
Royalty, I love that. I
she's-
need my tiara.
Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Hey, how you doing, AJ?
yeah.
Fantastic. I need to go back to the East Coast and check out a lot of. I missed out on.
I've never been there. I hear it's huge. New Mohegan
I'm
Sun.
sure.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I'm sure it's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so
Anyway,
so my next thing
Gold
is at the
Coast.
Gold Coast, and just so you know, there's not a lot of buses back then. So the average way where I lived, it was 2 hours and 40 minutes to get to the next bus. And the Gold Coast was my introduction to sweating the money. The most ridiculous stories
Right,
about
right.
they used to sweat
Ellen,
the money.
yes, I will be at the birthday bash. Saturday night and Sunday. Go on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got. By the way, I still have the blades. By the way, and if you guys come down, I can whip those babies out and get on those blades, dude.
We get so distracted doing these. We just read the
we
comments.
we love the comments, dude. We love you guys. Thank you
Richard.
so much for being part of this.
Yep.
All right, so
Yep,
we're
yep.
gonna get to the Gold. I'm gonna get to
The
the Gold
Gold
Coast.
Coast.
I got some incredible stories. But
Sweat.
Lauren, what's
Yeah.
your next job, buddy? How did you move on?
So here's how I moved on.
Yeah.
Right away, when the guy offered me the job after I screwed up my audition so bad at the Edgewater, I took the job, but I realized that if they really wanted a dealer like that, I didn't want to work there.
Really?
Yeah. If they wanted somebody who was so bad, which I felt like I was so
It
bad.
was like the low bar.
It was, yeah.
You wanted to be a better bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after 6 weeks and very crappy money and working 12 hours to make $100 or
Oh,
whatever,
really? Yeah.
I went next door to the Flamingo Hilton.
Oh.
And I walked into the Flamingo Hilton and I talked to the casino manager and I said, "Are you hiring? I'd like to audition." And he says, "What's your history?" I said, "Well, I'm at the Edgewater. How long you been there? 6 weeks. Where were you before that?" "No, that's it. 6 weeks."
6 weeks.
He goes, "6 weeks? You've been dealing 6 weeks?"
And you wanted that was the best job
Now-
there, right?
Now, the Flamingo Hilton?
That was the best job.
Yeah,
in-
at the
in
time it
Laughlin.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah.
So now everybody that I worked with, all the floor people at the Edgewater, everything, kept saying, "Really, you've only been doing this 6 weeks? You look like you've been dealing for years."
Yeah.
Like they all said, "I've never seen somebody this new to the business that's as good as you are." Which,
You're
you know,
fantastic, Lauren.
I was a player, so I knew the rules of the game. I learned.
Really?
I learned
you
Pai-Gow.
were a
I dealt
degenerate
Pai-
player.
Yeah, I was totally a degenerate.
Yeah.
So I went over to the Flamingo Hilton, and the guy's like, "Come back when you've been in the business 6 months." And I said, "Listen, give me an audition.
Really?
What's it going to hurt you?
Yeah.
If I suck, then tell me to leave, and I'll leave, and I won't come back."
Yeah.
I said, "If I don't suck, maybe you'll hire me." So
You talk about sucking as a blackjack dealer.
Yeah.
There's different types of auditions, man. I'm just
Right.
clarifying
If
for
I
the
suck
audience.
as a blackjack dealer,
Okay.
maybe I can get my job some other sucky
Yeah.
way. I don't know.
Nice.
Anyway, no. So I'm like, if I'm no good, tell
Yeah.
me and I'll leave, right?
Oh, that's fantastic.
So he goes, "Okay, fine, go on this game." And I went on the game, and 5 minutes later, come off the game, and he goes, "You sure you only been dealing 6
Really?
weeks?" Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I
And he
believe
hired
it.
me.
No, I know.
Yeah.
By the way, Lauren is a really skilled mechanics. It's really she's very very fluent. She's very polished. Her skills are fantastic.
Thank you.
You can't say that. There's a lot of dealers at the highest level. Like you go to Cosmo, not all dealers are the same. Some are very accurate, and that's really the key. But they don't have that panache, that sort of extra polish, that
Yeah.
that nice smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I pride
that's definitely a
myself
thing.
on how clean my game is and how easily my game flows. It's just it just came so naturally
Really?
to me. Yeah, it really did.
So it wasn't for me. It wasn't until the Gold Coast that I tried to upgrade my game. Up
Okay.
until when I graduated after the Golden Gate, I was still not convinced I was going to be in gaming.
Okay.
The experience there was very mixed. I had a boss that was just the bleeding, and I loved the personalities,
Right.
and I loved. Even at the time, it's a bit of a grind to make any money. I had to work a Subway. I had to clean floors at Burger King, by the way. I had to close the Burger King at the time.
Yeah.
And anyways, I had to close Burger King. So, I leave there. I audition at the Gold Coast, and I get hired to deal dice. Literally just for dice. I only audition on dice.
Right.
They have no idea I can deal any of the games. They can care less. They just want me on dice. And that's the deal.
Back then, we could do that.
You could do that.
You could be a dice
just
dealer.
a dice dealer. You're right.
A blackjack dealer with roulette.
And they auditioned me on a bird game, which, I worked at Golden Gate, and I wasn't really a great dealer because I never really took it seriously. I always, my life up until then was just lots of, part-time realities. I would do one thing for 6 months, maybe I think a year. The military at that point had been the longest thing I'd ever done.
Right.
So it was always sort of this constant thing. So, but I both hated the game and fell in love with the game at the Gold Coast. That's what sort of changed. I met a guy who became my boxman. He was still a young man. You guys could still run into him to this day. His name is Godfrey. And he works at the Gold Coast. He's been a boxman there for 30 flipping years.
Wow.
And he still remembers me, or let's say he's been there for 35 years.
Wow.
And he's been there all this time. And he is the one that taught me to respect the game. And he is the one who made me kind of stand up and take it seriously for once.
Right.
He I would say he mentored, but he's mentored a lot of people. A lot of people have this very fond memory of this man. By the way, he's a barker. He yells at you. He gets impatient. All these things, but he's very sort of coaching. He's always looking to make you better and try to take. And I think some people they see Godfrey and they break against Godfrey. Some people don't get through the whole Godfrey dynamic. But for me, it was really something where I either had to become a dice dealer, a good one, or do something else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because back to I don't have a good pair of tits. My ass is not winning over the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I have deficits, dude.
Right,
I can't. Gaming back then was,
It
was a different.
It was totally different.
It was a different story.
Totally different.
It was really a different story.
Yep.
But I was also introduced to the money, the sweating for the first time. I came across. Holy crap. That was the nice thing about the game. There was never enough money. No one really cared. Every now and then, someone would make a big bet, and everybody would be like, oh my God, he's got $200 on the table.
I was going to say, what was a big bet back then?
It was a $200
$200
max game.
Right.
All the tables were max $200.
Right.
All of a sudden, now I'm at the Gold Coast, like $1,000 max or $3,000 max. And there's real money. Believe it or not, real money. Real movie stars.
Yeah.
Cheap ass movie stars, but real movie stars nonetheless, dude. Some cheap ass movie stars, dude. Okay. So the pennies. How many pennies have you ever seen? Has anyone thrown pennies under a game for you? Under your game?
Oh yeah. Back in the day, yeah. And you want to hear something funny?
Yeah,
they still do it at places like the Gold Coast and the Sun Coast.
It's unbelievable. So here's the thing. I get off a game one day, and someone says to me, one of the dealers, we're getting tapped out of this game. He says, "Look under the table." Yeah. And I'm like, what's under the table? He's like, I know. He loves pennies, dude. He says, I was
looking at the one above that.
He says, this is 91, 92. He says, look under the table. And I'm like, no way. Yeah. What's under the table? You know what I mean? Is there a body under the table?
No,
I don't know. There's pennies under the table.
Pennies under the table.
And I'm like, why is there pennies on the table? It's like, well, it's some kind of old Italian thing. Like, they throw pennies to kind of change the luck.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so they think if they throw the pennies under the table, it'll change the luck of the dice.
Right.
And I'm like, no way. That's a thing?
Yep.
So every day, so after that, I would come to work. And normally you came to work and looked at the table to see how busy it was. If you guys have been around a busy table, can you imagine what a 20... Yeah, she's still there.
Yeah, I am.
She's
I'm
still there.
Yep.
That's why, how is gambling different? That's what we're talking about right now. So people used to bet quarters, 25-cent pieces.
Coin
and then
pushers, check
scale.
under the tables. Go to the Gold Coast and the Sun Coast.
Yeah.
You'll find pennies, guaranteed.
Really?
I was just at the Sun Coast playing at Ultimate last week,
pennies.
and I looked down and there was a penny on the floor.
It's all these old bosses. So I would come to work. I would see who was playing the games because as a dealer, you want to know like how busy is it going to be. I get there on swing shift, and it would just be mad.
Yeah.
They'd have 4 games going, all the games going nonstop,
right,
and you got 8 people aside. It's a lot of work.
Screaming and
you know what I mean?
Cheering.
And the thing about the Gold Coast is he had all the stacks. The nice thing about the Rio later on in life when I got to work there is it was more higher limit $5 games. The $5 games, those are the big. There's a lot of fight. That was the higher limit kind of games.
Yeah.
But you only had to work out of 4 or 5 stacks. The Gold Coast 6 stacks. You had quarters, dollars, fives. You know what I mean? You had all this. It was just a lot of work. So we started looking under the table. Now it gets better. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm on this game one day, and we're giving away all this money. It's the biggest roll I've ever. It's an hour and 40-minute hand.
Wow.
You remember Star Search? Remember that game?
Yeah.
Because everybody would be like, here's David auditioning for Star Search again. I would get on the stick because they call it singing up a hand. So if you're
Yeah.
on the stick and you start calling numbers and giving away money, they say that you're singing up a hand. And they'd be
Right.
like, oh my God, let's call
You're
Ed
singing
McMahon.
again. Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get the Star
Yeah.
Search crew out here. We got David on the stick. He's going to sing it up and give away some money. So I'm singing up this hand. I go to second base, and I'm looking down, and there's a pile of salt on the game. So what the dealer had been collecting a little, thank you, sir. Look at that, they missed launch. Oh my God, here it comes.
Thank you.
She
Thank
loves that,
you.
by the way.
Yes,
She
I'm
misses
still
all
working
you.
at the Cosmo, and I will. Jen, is that you in Florida?
I know, right?
Is it?
It might be.
It might be.
It might be Jen.
But yeah, I'll tell Dean that you
Yeah.
miss him and say hello. And
Dean's
yeah,
our
I'm still
son,
there.
by the
Yep.
way. He's really grown up in gaming, huh? He's got some big jobs
Yeah,
coming. As a trainer and moving up.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
so I get on the base. I'm on
Hold it.
second base, if you don't know.
Hi, Jen. This is Dean, by the way.
Oh, that's Dean? Dean's got
guess.
an
I
anonymous
didn't know.
account. Now you know. Now you
Dean,
can
that's
track
you.
his ass.
See, now I know.
Wow, buddy. Woo. Better not. Now we know what your anonymous screen name is.
Right.
So I get on base and there's a little pile of salt. And so basically, the pit manager had taken a
Oh my
salt shaker
God.
literally off a table,
Just thrown it
was
on the
throwing it
table.
over his shoulder, and of course it was interfering in the game, and the dealer was trying to push it over,
Right.
and had made a little pile out
Oh
of
my
it.
God, that's too
So
funny.
I'm like,
funny.
no way. Yeah, I'm the one that got the free crash table. Oh, fantastic! Wow,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I salt on the damn table.
And that's because craps.
Yeah.
Because see, on blackjack, they would come by and they would tell you change the shuffle, throw in an extra strip in the shuffle, do something,
Yeah.
drop the cards,
Drop
do
the
something.
cards. Yeah, do something.
You're
Change
holding
this
your
up.
double deck, right?
Yep.
And they would come up behind you and they would knock into you
Yeah.
do something.
They used to hit
And
you.
we
Literally,
used to-
they used to run
they would
into you.
hit your elbow or
Yep.
whatever and make you drop your deck so that they would all go, and then you'd have to,
Yep.
and that would mix up the cards.
At the gate, they used to hit your shoe. So when I was dealing blackjack there, they used to come up behind you and hit you in the back of your shoe.
Right.
And that told you to do something else with the shuffle,
Right.
do something to try to get this money back.
Right.
They were annoyed that you were giving away money for whatever reason.
Well, because especially back then, now I don't know how much so today, but back then, the floor people, the pit managers, the shift managers, they got bonuses based on
The win.
the win.
Yeah.
Right? So the more the casino wins, the bigger their bonus was going to be. Right? So
Yeah.
if they started losing, that's cutting into their own personal money.
That's
now
right.
today,
Now they hate you. Not
today,
so much.
not
of
so
that.
much.
There is a bonus for revenue
maybe
and
for
bringing
really
it
higher ups,
at the higher
but not
levels.
like every floor
Yeah.
supervisor, every
No one else.
no.
Yeah, they took a lot of that out, so it's
Yeah.
not so much sweating.
Yeah.
So the Gold Coast was my introduction to all the nonsense, right? And it was also my introduction to the celebrity part of it. It's the first time I got a chance to deal to really higher profile types of people, right? So one of them that, if you guys remember Chips Patrol, so Chuck Norris owned a piece of the Gold Coast.
Okay.
A small piece from what I
Really?
understand. Yeah, 100%. So one
Okay.
day, his girlfriend or wife, I'm not really sure if they were married at the time,
Uh-huh.
she comes on the table and he wants to give her money. He comes around to the other side. They had to literally tell him, listen, you can't just push money out, to your girl. It's Chuck Norris.
Right.
Who says no to Chuck Norris, dude?
Right.
And it's by extension his wife, dude.
Right.
Let her have whatever you want.
Right,
This
right.
is all yours, okay?
Yeah.
Now we used to have a few. So that's where he brought Wilcox. Remember the guy, the patrol car, not Chip,
Yes. No, I know.
not
The blonde guy.
the blonde one.
Wilcox. Robert?
No,
Robert
his name was Wilcox. Everybody remember what his first
Oh,
name was
what
of
was
the
his
Chips
name?
Patrol? But anyways,
Yeah.
so he comes in one day, and he is with. I forget what he was with. This whole entourage of people. They show up at the craps table, and I could tell by his face. Look at all that, dude.
Look at I love you guys. Thank you, Mike. No, I don't deal craps. Everything but no craps.
Yeah, she says no craps.
Yeah. Thanks. I
God,
love
what,
you guys.
Larry Wilcox is his name?
Larry Wilcox,
Larry
that is it.
Wilcox,
Yep,
that's it.
yep.
So he comes up the table and I'm like, dude, Larry Wilcox ate the other Larry. There it is, Larry, yeah. And Larry
Yeah, yeah.
Wilcox ate the other Larry. Larry Wilcox has gained a little weight. Has gone from being
know,
like the svelte.
As we get older.
No, I don't mean a little weight.
you
I
know,
mean like
I know, I've
he's
seen
like
pictures of
300
him.
pounds, 250. He
Yeah,
is
well,
a
you
big
know what
boy.
happens. Chuck Norris built the hospital he was born in.
Oh, he's
What?
that's
He's a
it.
badass.
Because Chuck Norris. So that was the first time I ran into Chuck Norris, Larry Wilcox, and then if you guys remember the Breakfast Club, and also the guy that was the teacher, the teacher that had to in detention.
Oh, yeah,
who
yeah,
was the
yeah.
asshole.
Yeah, yeah.
And then later on in Die Hard, he was also the asshole. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That guy was an asshole in real life. He didn't even have to act, dude.
Wow.
He was literally
Wow.
that guy, dude. I think he
Wow.
died recently, and if he didn't die, asshole. So if you guys remember the Die Hard movies where it was like that one investigator, detective, who was a complete asshole, he used to come in, and he would buy in for, get this, on the $5 table, which was the high limit table at the Coco's at the time, $200, dude. $200 was the big bankroll with a big movie star, and he played every bit of that. He just played up that whole. I mean, he would stroke you and up, down, all around. It was a constant thing, and lots of entitlement. And if you didn't say thank you and please and do everything, he would complain. I mean, he really was. He that was his personality. It was unbelievable. But anyways, okay. What's your sweating? What's your sweat story? What did have some? Oh, by the way, you guys know dice. On that game we gave away the money. They switched the damn bowl. Barry came up behind me and switched the bowl.
Wow.
What does the bowl have to do with the dice?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, he switched the bowl.
Absolutely nothing.
He stuck his little hand over there. I thought he was going to feel me up.
But you know what? Switch the bowl, switch whatever, throw pennies under the table, salt on the whatever.
It didn't help.
It doesn't matter.
No, we gave away a shit ton of money. We killed everybody's bonus for the year.
Anything, everything. Here's one of my best stories, and this has to do with my audition at the Rio.
Yeah.
So I go to the Rio to audition, and there's a whole story behind it, but the part that goes with the sweating the money is they put me on Pai Gow, and I dealt like 3 hands on Pai Gow, and then they put me on the other games and took me around the casino and whatever, and then they said, you know, we need you to go back to Pai Gow, and they took me back to Pai Gow, and I went, okay, like I thought that was weird, you know, I've already done a few hands, but whatever. So
you're auditioning.
I'm auditioning.
You're not
I'm in
hired.
black and white. So I go to the Pai Gow table again, and there's only one guy playing, right?
Yeah.
It's probably 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So I'm dealing, and I'm still dealing, and I look, and it's like half an hour goes by, and I'm still dealing to this guy. And then before you know it, it's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Fine, and I'm like looking around, like there's the dealer is standing there bored out of her mind, and there's the floor, and so finally, 45 minutes later, I get tapped off the game, and I'd like, you don't want to say anything because you don't want to be like, oh, you know, the whiner, and then you're not going to get hired,
where's my money?
Right. So I come off the game, and I was like, did you guys forget about me? Like, what was that? And he goes, oh my God, you're the only dealer that's been able to beat that guy all night long. That guy's been kicking our ass all night long. You came in for those 3 hands. You won all 3 hands. He goes, we just figured we'd put you back there and get some of our money back.
Brutal. They give you commission?
I said, I certainly hope I have the job after. He goes,
really?
You got the job. Yeah.
We need a cooler. Oh my God. Welcome to Cosmo.
Minutes.
Really?
No, that was at not Cosmo. That was at the
I
Rio.
know, but the rumors spread.
Oh, yeah.
They know you're the
Right.
cooler.
Now they're
come
like,
on
yeah,
down,
we'll take
Lauren.
her.
We'll take her. They're like headhunting.
Yeah.
Can we get Lauren over here? We got a high roller
so
coming in.
talk about sweating the money. I've never experienced being on an audition 45 minutes on one table.
There's a lot of that. All right.
So.
Hey Jason, how you doing, buddy? The walk away through when they change. Yeah, they do that all the time. They change the ball, they change the spin, change the dealer.
Changing the spin and the speed and the ball.
Yeah.
That's all standard. That doesn't really have anything to do with sweating the money so much. That's standard. You're supposed to, and that's to keep people from being able to clock the wheel.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't know clocking the wheel, it's like if you spin exactly the same way every single time, eventually people can figure out how many times the ball goes around, approximately where it's going to fall, bet a section, right?
Clocking the wheel.
So it's called clocking the wheel. But they will tell you if you're dumping too much money on roulette, they will tell you change the ball more often.
And they'll tap your ass out.
They'll tap. They used to.
Oh, I know.
Maybe there's some now that still do, but for the most part, if you're scheduled to do an hour, you're going to do your hour. If you're winning, if you're losing, it's none of this every 20 minutes like it used to be.
Yeah.
Switch the dealer, switch it now, not anymore.
I'm at this is just a little tangential thing, right? I'm at a casino not too long ago. I won't say who. They do. So here's an example. They do as far as that. So there's a dealer on roulette. And he rolls the same number. So there's these 2 Latin guys that love to follow the number.
Okay.
They love to, whatever the number, they'll bet, like they'll do it like a complete bet around that number. for the next spin.
I actually agree with that system,
Yeah.
so I like that.
So
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
So they
okay.
were, but they were pounding it. They were high limit. They had
Okay.
bought it for 50 grand or something like this. This
Right.
is at a lower. I can't tell you the name because it's. But anyway, so we kind of work with the casino. You know what I mean? But so this one dealer, he's fairly new, but he's a very good dealer, and he's very low key. He rolls. I forget what the number was. Let's say it's a 17. 'Cause
Right.
That's everybody's favorite number.
Right.
The next number is also a 17.
Okay.
The next number, another 17. Then it's another 17.
Wow.
Five of the same
Wow.
number in a row.
Wow.
No kidding.
That's amazing.
So it gets better. So these guys can't help themselves. They're drunk. They're falling over. They're so excited. They're high five. They're really super loud. They're the
Right.
most. They're like so obnoxious.
And then
like
probably
you.
by then, like you? Is that what
Yeah,
you said?
no, I wouldn't say like me. No. I'm saying they're so obnoxious. They're really
Okay,
just the
yeah,
most
okay.
obnoxious kind of people.
Okay.
So here's what happens next. After he does 5 of the same.
A different number.
Not the different number. It's
Oh.
like all one color for like 10 rolls in a row. And finally, you know what stops the most interesting? So he actually, one of the balls goes off the flipping thing.
Okay.
And, they're hunting down the ball.
Okay.
A couple minutes later, another ball goes off the table. They have 2 balls down.
Okay.
And security is still looking
For the first one.
for the first
Oh,
one.
jeez.
Now they're looking for the second one.
Okay.
And they have to go in the draw
To
to
get
get
a-
a new ball.
Wow.
To get a new ball.
Wow.
It gets great. And this is kind of like one of those weird things that happen. So
Yeah.
here's the thing: they cannot find 3 of these balls. 2 of the balls
Where
end up
are
in
they?
the
What's
same
going
place.
on?
Well, it turns out it's underneath one of them. 2 of them have fallen under one of the crap table legs. That's
Oh.
rounded at the bottom,
Oh,
and just
wow.
both of them are literally right next to each other.
That's
miraculously,
incredible.
like they had to.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: a shift boss comes down. By the way, the shift boss ended up getting laid off not too long after because I think he had a little drinking problem.
Well,
because
you
he
know.
should have been ahead of. See, normally if something like this happens at the casino, casinos still take precautions to move a dealer when when it's no longer seems random.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's a point where it's
Right.
enough is enough. We got to get the dealer out here.
Right.
But here's this dealer, 5 numbers in a row,
Yeah.
like 12 colors in a row,
Yeah.
3 balls down, and no floor supervisor has said a flippin' thing. The floor supervisor that's on that game is a guy that knows nothing about roulette, is a crap dealer.
there you go.
Who had been promoted, knows
There you go.
nothing about roulette, right?
Yeah.
And is literally watching 2 roulette games. Doesn't know
my
the
God.
payoffs, doesn't know anything about roulette. Now, they don't know that. They don't know that. So
Right,
this is a
right.
guy who's supposed to know all the games, been a dealer for a while, but has dealt pretty much everything but roulette.
Right.
He knows the payouts, but he doesn't know that
Right.
these are issues. That hey, you got to pick up the phone,
Right,
talk
right.
to somebody.
Yeah.
This dealer may
Yeah.
need a break,
Yeah.
early. And so all of a sudden, there's like all these bosses. Like this was sort of the last straw, and they're all arguing in the pit, trying
Oh
to
my
work
God.
out. Meanwhile, you got like I forget, one of the guys' name was Pablo, and
Okay.
the other guy was like some other. They were brothers. They were like twins.
Okay.
And they were just carrying on and yelling at everybody, and it was this entire thing. But it's a great example of when enough is enough. It took 3 balls going off the table for someone to be like, "What the hell's going on
Right,
over
right.
here?" And then they look back and they started going off on, "Oh my God, we let
Right,
5
right.
numbers and 12
Wow.
colors."
Wow.
And what would have happened like in a Cosmo? What would they do? I mean, would they change the dealer? I mean, this is a lot of the
no,
same
at the
color.
Cosmo, they would. We have had the whole thing all one color
All
before.
one color,
I mean,
yeah,
that's not that unusual. But as far as like 5 17s in a row, 5 something, they would definitely come up and say, "Hey, change the ball, but change something."
What about big on the 4th ball?
Oh yeah, no. We don't resume our game until they find the
Oh,
ball.
really?
Oh yeah, no. There's
Yeah.
There's 2 different size balls
Yeah,
on the game.
on the game, and that's
if
it.
one goes off,
Yeah.
right? You stop. You wait until they find
Oh,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
interesting.
never gonna be like, oh, go ahead and we'll
Yeah, this
find
supervisor
it. No.
just grabbed another
Yeah,
ball.
it's kind
from
of like
the draw.
it's kind of like the dice.
Let's keep-
If
let's
the
keep
dice
moving.
goes off the table, you're not gonna start play again until they find it, right?
Well, you can dump the ball and just move on. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
thinking that's what that supervisor
Okay.
thought. Let's just get another ball on this game and keep it
Maybe.
moving. You know what I mean? But anyways, all right. When a throw is hot, here we'll answer
I
some
don't know.
questions anyway. To
I know
re-rack
there
with
was
the player
one we
one
were
I'll
gonna
answer.
get back to, and now I can't remember what it was.
Have you ever needed to re-rack?
Re-rack.
Like
because the player what?
we have had to, I've had to wait
Oh
on the
yeah,
fill
yeah,
before.
yeah.
I've had to wait on
Me
the fill.
too. Uh huh.
And I had to wait on a high level fill once or someone that wanted color. It was literally someone they spun out in color, ended up with like 20,000, and we didn't have enough high value chips, so we waited for those to come in.
Did David buy you dinner? He's buying me dinner after this podcast.
Yes, we're buying dinner. Yeah, 100%. You always got to keep your balls on the game. Go. What do you got?
So, yeah, I mean, I've had people win so much money at my table that they had to call for an emergency fill and bring in more chips fast because I just didn't have enough to pay anymore. That happened.
At the Rio, that was a thing a couple times. We would have all of a sudden we get hit by a real high limit player, and they would come in like $300,000, and your table really did. It wasn't really set up for a player like that, and you had to wait. Either way, you would start the action with what you had. Normally it was enough, but the dynamic would change very quickly. A lot of times when you had a guy like that come, they would change the table. Like the table then would go to $500 game, and then they would look to create a kind of different a different environment for the player. Although it's interesting because a lot of really good crap players that play at the higher limits, they really don't ask for much. A lot of them, there's not a lot of entitlement. You know what I mean? There are some that are out there, but all right. Originally bought it for $5. What was the hardest game? Hardest game to learn, dude? Huh? Craps?
I mean, I still haven't learned craps, so I'm gonna go with craps. For me, it all came so naturally to me. It wasn't hard.
Yeah, it's
maybe
really not
roulette
hard.
because there's so much math involved. Maybe that would be it. Hey, can you guys still hear us?
I think single zero. Yeah, can you guys still hear us?
Single
I
zero
think
would
so.
be hard.
Here, we love and miss you,
thank
Lauren.
you. Who is that?
Who is that? I know all the money. I'm gonna have to give you. I'm gonna have to take her out to a good dinner.
Right? That's right.
I don't know. I can't even.
I love you guys too. I miss you too. Keep telling David. Maybe he'll have me on more often.
All right. I saw an interesting message in there that I go. When you get tapped out, there's normally a roadmap. You kind of know where you're going before you're either gonna go to break or there's a rotation. You're gonna go to the next table.
Right.
Sometimes you have to report to another pit, and some dealers. Sometimes when you get tapped out, the dealer will tell you, "Hey, go to the podium," and then they'll figure out like where you go from there. You know what I mean?
Right. I deal Pai-Gow poker, not tiles. Never learned tiles. To whoever just asked that
Payout
question.
on craps horns bets. It's 3 and 7 minus a quarter, or 2 and 3/4 minus with 7 minus a half. 2, 5, 11 of the keys on the horn high bets. I've been doing this a long time.
Yes, he has a really long time.
Too long. All right. We're gonna get to the next
Alex
one.
taller than 5 feet?
Oh
yeah,
my
a little
God.
bit.
He is taller
He's taller than 5 feet.
But anyways, here, just so you know, the next rant on roulette is going to be his testosterone level is 75 points. I just went below mine.
Oh, below yours. I was like, what is that high? Is that good or bad?
I mean, it just depends on if you use testosterone as a marker. You know what I mean? Like, there's this marker and that marker. Okay. All right, here we go. You ready? All right.
Ready.
Okay, ready now.
What?
What was the craziest? Did you ever open a casino?
Cosmopolitan.
Oh, you opened the Cosmo.
I sure did.
So how was that? What was the games like? You opened the Cosmo?
Yep. It was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Really?
I had been in the business already for about 18 years.
Yeah.
And I had never done it before, and I had always wanted to, and so I got the opportunity at Cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
Got in there for training before we were open. Quiet, dark, no slot machines ringing. You know,
really? Yeah.
No music playing.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
kind of
very
interesting.
strange.
Yeah.
To me, to be in a casino that was not up and running yet.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Going through all the training and seeing everything before the fact. We did play days, what they called play days, where it's friends and family are invited, and then you come in and like we get to eat at the restaurants, and the waiters at the restaurants get to serve us and practice their job. Then we spend a few days dealing, and then the waiters and the whoever come play at the tables, and then we get to practice our job, and it's kind of like a dress rehearsal type thing.
Wow, these are great questions. So this is a really good. Here, let's talk about this. Then we're going to get to opening casinos because I'm going to share with you. I've opened quite a few. I wasn't on the opening crew with the Santa Fe, but I actually, when Sue Loudon owned it, I was there like the week after it opened. I was hired as a crap dealer on day shift. And they had already had, I kind of built a spot or a new table.
Imagine that. Was that Timmy?
That is Timmy. Timmy is lurking.
Hi,
Timmy is back on the crew, by the way. But here's the thing. Ready? Hi.
Yes.
Hey, buddy. All right. So is Cosmo worse for the MGM coming, or is it better or worse? Come on, go ahead. Let him. She might not be able to talk too cleanly about it. Let us know what's going on over there.
So I have to say, the management team that we had before MGM came in was, in my opinion, the worst management team I've ever worked with in my 30 years in this business.
Wait a minute, just recently?
Before MGM bought it. Yes.
Before MGM.
The most recent one that just left when MGM came in.
They were the worst.
I did not like them at
So
all.
you're happy to see them go.
So happy to see them go.
Don't let the door spank in the ass.
As far as I'm concerned, that's exactly right. Don't let the
Wow.
door. So I personally, I love our new director of table games, our
Wow.
assistant director. We
Wow.
have a brand new shift manager that
Yeah.
just came over from MGM.
Yep.
Fantastic. Love her.
Yep.
I mean, like, I feel like finally things are going to start getting better
Oh.
as to where they've been dormant for many years. And
Wow.
in my opinion,
I think she's negotiating for a
We're-
raise.
no, seriously. I
Really?
mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are finally, I just saw a story come out that starting in February, we're going to be transferring to the MGM M Life, whatever their rewards
Oh.
card is.
Yeah, it's a great rewards card. If
Right
you get
now-
the credit card, it's a really big upgrade.
Get the credit
I
card,
mean,
everybody.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right now, we're still Cosmopolitan Identity,
Yeah.
and people try to use the MGM card all the time, and
Yep.
we can't.
It's coming
right?
soon,
so
though.
it's coming
They're-
in February.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
February of next year.
That's what I saw. I
Wow,
just saw the article.
Oh, okay. So I do know it is carrying over. Here's an interesting thing. If we, so right now the rewards are not connected. But I will say this. I know we should get some Lucky Lauren merchandise as a dealer.
Yeah.
So you
I like
can deal. It used to be that some casinos did not like you to moonlight. You are not allowed
Right.
to moonlight, but nowadays you can. It's not the big deal. It's much more regulated. There's a lot more cameras. It's easier to track who's where. But back in the day, you could only really work. Most casinos did not like you to moonlight.
And the difference now is because it takes so long to get a full-time position at a casino.
Right.
And most of the casinos understand you can't survive on one part-time job.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to get a second part-time job.
Now you can't get a second job, and you can't work at one station and then two stations. And
Right.
You have to work at a station, MGM,
Right.
different companies.
Right. We had
but-
several people when MGM came
Yeah.
in and bought us.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people that were working at our place and an MGM property.
Yep.
They had to pick one.
Yeah.
So
That was the thing too
yeah.
with me. I remember I worked for, I should say too, they had a no moonlighting policy. You had to actually sign it.
Yeah.
And agreed to not moonlight as a dealer anywhere
Yeah.
else. You got to work at another casino. And some of that too was because they couldn't track you very well. Nowadays there's cameras everywhere. They know where you're at. They can pretty much figure out where you've been, where you're going, all that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
All right. So I'm out of the Gold Coast.
Okay.
And a friend of mine refers me to a job on the Strip. It's my first foray into the Strip,
Okay.
and I've never worked on the Las Vegas Strip.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go for the brass ring.
Yeah.
And who's not excited about that?
Of course.
So,
and what casino was this?
That's the Imperial Palace. Dude.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. And so I go down there.
Yeah.
And hey, look at this.
Go
What's
ahead.
going on over here, man?
Just
So-
because I know the Imperial Palace.
No, it was
I
a
knew the
gem.
Imperial
It was absolute gem.
Hmm.
The only, first of all, it was a very, let's just say, it was a bit of a grindy, flea-bitten stroker. It was a stepchild of the Strip. You worked with a really dirty, perverted owner who literally owned his own toilet paper company because he didn't want to he had to own everything. So I go in there, I get hired by the
And-
most.
Plus, he was. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. He was a
I
bit
mean,
of a
he was
bit of a Nazi.
Yeah,
he was
well,
a
more than a
Nazi.
bit of a Nazi.
He loved Nazi
Yeah.
memorabilia. Had a Nazi
Yeah.
room. He actually got fined $1 million for having a Nazi room.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. I didn't learn that
Swastikas on
until
the
later.
walls.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was a big.
Yeah.
So I go in there. I go to audition.
Mm-hmm.
There are no players to audition to. They're like, sir. Well, you left the Gold Coast. You've been dealing for 2 years. We trust you.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the Las Vegas Strip. This is going to be your introduction
Okay.
to the big league.
Okay.
They send me down to HR. I meet this lady,
Yeah.
who, by the way, she's the HR director.
Yeah.
Let's just say before the interview was over, she had asked me out for coffee.
Oh my God.
We had a date.
Wow.
We had a date, and I figured, you know what? I mean, just to make sure I get the job, to lock in the job, dude. I'm gonna go and have a little quick date.
Wow.
Now, here's the most amazing thing. So, unlike every other job I'd ever done, they do a voice thing. You have to they record you. They start a recorder, and they have this interviewer, and they interview all your answers, and they record it. And I was like, why are they recording all the answers so we can review them later? Like, what do you have to review later? Like, what part of this process? It was a very strange employment process.
Yeah.
And then she made me pay for dinner or whatever. I was like, well, I knew I was going to pay something. I didn't think I'd pay all of it. And then it was coffee, and then I could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That helped me get the next job, though. So I ended up coming back to Vegas years later, and she was still there, and she hired me back at the IP. Of course, by that time I was like, listen, there's no dating. I just need a job, you know, that kind of thing. But anyways, so I go to work at the IP. I'm on the Las Vegas Strip, and I realize within like 2 days why they hired me without an audition, because they have almost no play, and there's no toques. It's a table for table job.
Oh wow. And
so I'm there for like 3 or 4 days, and I get summoned to there's a pre-shift summoning. You know Kirk that works at Circa?
Yeah.
We have a friend. I have a friend of mine that okay, I shouldn't have mentioned his name, by the way, but basically there was a whole bunch of dealers that were all fired at once, and they had been hiring dealers, desperately finding craps dealers to replace all these dealers because they were caught, not necessarily Kirk or anybody, but they basically fired everyone. So they were cheating the casino, and they were dropping toques for themselves. They were setting up bets, and they were making money for themselves.
Oh yeah.
So
which still kind of goes on
yes,
today.
with a pit that had very little action, these dealers are making like $1,000 a day with no play. You know what I mean? Like, how does this happen, right?
Gotcha.
So I get to the pre-shift, and they're going like, you guys are all fired. I want your aprons. He's having this whole thing. He's sending people to the office. And this is where me and Kirk sort of passed the night. He was one of these dealers that was let go, and I'm coming in.
Got it.
And taking over his spot. And taking over his spot. And I had to pay for my job, so to speak, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But meanwhile, I don't make any money there. There's a story about us having to cover the tote box and those kinds of things. But it turns out to be a really terrible job. And the worst part of that job is I got to sit there and I got to see Ralph Ingolstadt over there at the Island Bar, whatever the hell it was, and he would audition his cocktail waitresses. And he would hold up these little slinky little outfit and be like, listen, here, honey.
Can you fit into this?
That's it. That was the entire interview.
Yeah.
Can you work your way into this little...
Yeah.
So, like, one day, I'm sorry if I'm laughing. I know it's like, I don't want to, but there was a woman who was a cocktail waitress, she got pregnant. And
that was a big no-no back then.
You couldn't get pregnant. You couldn't get pregnant as a dealer. You couldn't get pregnant as a cocktail waiter. You couldn't get pregnant.
Dealers were... better than cocktail.
Yeah, just Becky, but if you're a cocktail waitress, you grew out of that costume. You weren't going to be, you can't work it.
Yeah.
And I can see her, she's there, and she's holding her out, and I can see them talking, and she was basically, look, I'm pregnant, please let me work, I need to make money, because it was still a good job as a cocktail waitress, right? And, he wasn't having it, dude. He was like, listen.
Can't fit in the outfit anymore.
Can't fit in the outfit, dude. You got to go, dude. And because he would take the girls and they would go upstairs for a more personal interview. Maybe there was other questions.
Sure.
There were questions you couldn't talk about at the bar.
Right.
You had to
private questions.
Yeah, there were private questions. So you know what I mean? So that's everything completely above board back then. I mean, so anyway, so I got to just sit there because you had nothing else to do. I mean, this guy was just such a creep.
Right.
I know, you're going to ask why. I came back to Vegas some years later, and I could not get a job. No one would hire me. And it was right before I got to work at the Rio. Thank God I passed the audition. But anyway, so luckily, the Santa Fe was opening, which before it was stationed, it was opened by this woman named Sue Loud, who was really well connected. I think she ran for governor. She was like a mayor. She was in politics. And it was basically this giant bingo hall. They opened it in an area of retired people, and it was a very interesting new type of job for me. There wasn't a lot of action, but it was a real locals place.
Right.
Because at that point it was basically Gold Coast, busy local strip type of thing.
Right.
Then I go on the strip, which this place was all locals. It was all these older, and this is where I fell in love with the game. I got to meet and get to know all these people learning craps and asking questions and working on strategies and developing all this. And this was the place that we had this supervisor who I don't want to, you know who he is, but
Okay, tell me later.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, don't name
'Cause
names.
He got laid off from that job for being something or other. But anyway,
Gotcha.
but it was amazing. I got to really get to know locals and the people that play every day and buy in. And this is really the foundation of what we do at Casino Quest.
Right.
The strategies, the opportunities, and this is where I started taking that part of the game pretty seriously.
Right.
And dealers hate. A lot of times they really get tired of locals. They get tired of people doing the same thing. A lot of these locals don't tip. They're grindy. They don't. And so a lot of dealers get into this whole mode of being an adversary. Like, oh my God, you're not betting for me. They
Right.
get very lazy. But I wasn't this person.
Yep.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that whole local part of it. And it kind of became my shtick for a minute. You know what I mean? Okay, where did you go to work after?
After the Flamingo Hilton,
Yeah, I know.
so I came to Vegas. I went to the Rio.
Oh my God, you went right to the Rio? From the best job in Laughlin to the best job in Vegas. Oh my
So
God.
here's the situation.
What is the situation,
The
Lauren?
situation is, I'm at the Flamingo Hilton.
Yep.
I meet Dean's dad. We get together. I end up having Dean. His dad cheats on me. I kick his ass out.
You need to move?
So, there's in Bullhead City in Laughlin 30 years ago, 28 years ago, no decent, reliable daycare center.
I thought you were going to say divorce
babysitting.
attorney.
No, we weren't married, so I just kicked his ass out.
Yeah, okay.
But
No
there's
daycare.
No daycare.
Oh.
So I'm relying on friends of friends who, can you babysit Saturday night? Can you babysit Monday night? You know what I
really?
mean? Friends of friends.
You moved for daycare? I guess that's a thing,
I
huh?
moved for daycare.
Wow, look at you, Dean, huh?
That's right. I moved
Wow.
for daycare. I said, what happened was I had, this babysitter for so long, it
Yeah.
didn't work out. This
Yeah.
babysitter didn't work out, whatever. So finally I had a babysitter that she didn't even tell me that she quit. She just didn't show up. And I'm waiting because she's supposed to be there so I can go to work. She doesn't show up. It takes me forever to get a hold of her. I had to call into work. She's like, oh yeah, I quit. Well, were you going to bother telling me that? Right. So I said, if I'm going to be a single mother, I need to be in a town where there's daycare centers and babysitting, and I can't do it here.
Yeah.
So I literally moved for daycare. I said to some friends, I'm going to Vegas, I need to find a job. Where should I look? I had one friend tell me the Hard Rock back then, because the Hard Rock was a great job. And I had another friend say, hey, check out that place, the Rio. I had heard of the Hard Rock. I knew the Hard Rock.
Hard Rock is a
Dean
great job.
taught me, what?
Dean
What?
taught me.
Oh,
This
Dean
is
taught me
English
crap.
is a second language for this one. Anyway. No, Dean taught a lot of people. Yeah, he was great. He's
Yeah.
a trainer
Oh,
now.
yeah.
He's literally a
Yeah.
trainer now.
Yeah,
I think
that's my baby.
CQ, put that idea in his head. That actually
Oh, I
helped
think
him.
so too.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
The person who recruited him for that job when he
Yep.
left CQ
Came to CQ.
called him
saw
because he knew Dean and he knew what he was
Yeah.
doing. And
I think Dean
Yeah.
actually taught some people on the game. They were so impressed with him that I think that's what the impetus was. No?
oh, I don't know. I think it was a friend he went to high school with.
Oh, really?
But anyway,
All right,
yeah.
good.
So I came to Vegas and I knew I wanted to go to the Hard Rock and I wanted to go to the Rio.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of the Rio.
Yeah.
And somebody said, oh, it's on the other side of the freeway from Caesar's Palace. So I happened to be on the freeway. That's the way I came into town, and there's the Rio.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, that's the place they told me about. So I got off the freeway, I went in, and
You were there when they just had the first tower, right?
Uh-huh.
They didn't even have the wing.
Yep.
So I was at the Gold Coast when they built the place, and we were like, "Holy crap! I want to go over." It was so nice. They had this big long wooden bar originally that was taken out apparently after
Mm-hmm.
that. But and I tried to ask for an audition. At that point, I'd only been a dealer for about a year, and they said no.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been dealing maybe a year and a half, something like this.
Right.
And it wasn't enough time.
the bar, I think, was Shutters, right? With the shutters.
It was a
that
wooden
big
bar.
Yeah.
Inside the Rio.
Yeah.
And then later it was closed, no?
Years later.
Maybe years later, I
Yeah.
don't know, yeah.
My audition at the Rio was funny. I get there, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. I go to the pit, I say to the guy, I'm here. I have one day. I'm in Laughlin. I'm dealing. I have one day to find a job. I need to find a job. I got to move to Vegas. He said, I will audition you, but I can't do it until 10:30, so come back in a half an hour.
10:30 at night or
No,
in the morning?
Oh, okay. So come back in a half an hour. I said, okay. Well, I'm not going to leave, right? So I'm walking around. I'm checking out the property.
Oh, I remember this story.
I sit down. I'm like, I'm going to have a cigarette real quick. I sit down. I light a cigarette. I'm at a poker machine. It was either a roll of quarters. I think back then you had to put the quarters in. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I, like $10 or whatever, playing a quarter poker machine, hit a royal. $1,000.
Wow.
And went, all right,
a good
that's
chance you're
pretty
going to get
lucky.
this job.
Right.
Get this
That's
job.
pretty lucky.
Did it happen? Then what happened? You got your money.
I get my money. I get paid. I go back to the pit.
Yeah.
10:30.
Yeah.
3 hands up Pai Gow, moves me to blackjack, to roulette, to baccarat, to blah, 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 back to Pai Gow, 45 minutes.
Wow.
Hired.
Done.
I was like, thank you very much.
Holy smokes.
He said, can you be here in 2 weeks? I said, I got to go home, go back, hand in 2 weeks notice, get packed up, whatever. Yeah, I said, so I'm guaranteed. I can hand in my notice, right? And he says, as long as you pass the drug test, And I said,
like, well, easy.
I was like, no problem. I can pass the drug test. And then it dawned on me that like maybe a week earlier I had smoked some pot with some friends of mine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, for the first time in like since I was a teenager.
Oh really?
I hadn't smoked pot in years.
No way.
And I decided a week before that to get high with some friends. But I wasn't worried. It was one time. I passed my drug test. I got the job.
By the way, I have one story that's been missing from some of this. So I was at the Gold Coast, and they let you gamble on your breaks. They let you play video poker on your breaks.
Right.
And so, I would get the tokes from the day before. I would pick them up before I started my shift.
Right.
And it was usually like $50, $60. It wasn't a lot.
Right.
And I would just fire away at the, video poker. So fiendish video poker was big back in our day. Early 90s video poker, especially they brought in double bonus and everybody lost their minds. And, you go for that $100, four of a kind, $200, $10.
Yeah.
So there was one day very specifically where I wasn't allowed. I had to come home with the first $50 of every envelope. That was the agreement I made with Lisa.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So tokes went $52. I had $2 to gamble.
Okay.
Okay. And me and a friend of mine, Bill, had said, "Listen, if we come up with any money this week from gambling, we were due for a vacation." And at that time, me and Lisa were not jiving. This was like. A lot of years of, you know what I mean? So we were looking, I was looking to get some, but I was like, dude, I have like $40 for the vacation, you know what I mean? So I go and I put $2 into this slot machine, a video poker machine, not a slot machine, a video poker machine. And like, I get like a full house dealt to me, and then I parlay it. I win $2,000.
Oh my God!
Over the course of that shift.
Oh my God!
It's like I just couldn't do anything wrong. I started playing dollars, which I realized at that point. What the hell am I doing on these quarter machines? I should have been just degenning on dollars the whole time.
Oh wow!
And we used that money quite literally from $2. Swear to God, to go to LA.
That's awesome.
And we blew all the money. But anyways, I had a little vacation.
But at least you had it to blow. That's awesome.
It's always good when you have it to blow, Lauren. That's a philosophy you should stick to. Okay. All right. Alan knows. Hey, there was another time too, by the way, where I chased a video poker. So I'm playing video poker. I'm out like $300, and I on my breaks I could get six rolls of quarters typically into the damn machine and played.
Okay.
Before I had to get back on the game. Okay. And if ever you were late, we had to deal with my crew that if you were late, you had to pay the crew. You had to pay them like 5 or 10, which made sense, right?
Right.
So of course.
If you're late, you probably hit something.
I'll probably hit something, or I'm just being late and I'm being an ass. You know what I mean? It's a petty crew. And we would get used to like someone would win something and everybody on the crew would get $20. I hit a royal, dude. I'm in like forever. I'm finally out. I hit a royal and it's literally like at the 19. I got 1 minute to get on the game. Right. I go run over to my table and I'm like, dude, I might not be able to tap anybody out. I gotta wait for this lady because back then they had to come and they had to close the machine, pay you the whole thing. And so I'm like, they were like, I'm sitting there at the table, and there's my crew, and we're negotiating what I'm gonna pay them. And they're like,
That's
what if I
funny.
give you guys each $20? They're like, it's not worth $20. You got to come back on the table. And
Oh
they're like,
my
well, what if
God.
I give you $40? They're like, it's not worth $40.
Oh my
I had to
God.
pay each of them $100.
Oh my God.
So because they all missed their break. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I came back after the
Right,
20-minute rotation. Not all of them, just the one
Right,
dude.
right.
You know what I mean? And then redo it. $100 each out of my $1,000 video. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm out $300. And another $300 that cost me to make.
You still got 700.
Anyways, all right. All right, so I still got 700. That is true, but I was at 300, so it's a net win. All right.
Okay, so you still up 400.
I'm up 400. All right, we're moving on. You ready?
All right, ready.
My next job,
Yeah.
and I will say this is the first time I fell in love with a crew.
Okay.
So interesting thing about being a dice dealer is you work with other people. Mm-hmm. You have a crew.
Right.
And a lot of times, a lot of casinos will just keep the crew together because you become so good at working together.
Right.
Especially back
Right.
then.
Yep.
Nowadays, you get recycled through other games and stuff like this.
Right.
You have to. But when I was a
Well-
crap dealer, go ahead.
Nowadays, they don't put a crew together.
Yeah.
They will not put the same 4 people together every day
Yeah.
because, you know,
There's been stories.
there's
People have
been
gone
stories.
to jail.
That's right.
The crew starts
That's right.
working together. They
That's
figure out how to
right.
beat the game.
So
and
they
next thing you know,
will
they're up
mix
$1 million.
and match as
Yeah.
much as they can. There's no more crew.
By the way, that casino that got pinched, those dealers are still doing it, dude. I couldn't believe it.
Oh,
But
wow.
that's another podcast. All right. So I'm working. I finally go to a job where it's literally the same crew because I'm working graveyard. They have 1 table on graveyard and 4 dealers. That's it. It's 4 dealers,
Right.
graveyard, 1 table, and it's the same box, the same pit manager, the same crew the whole time.
Right.
And this is at the Fitzgerald's. We call it the Fitz. Before the D was the D, it was the Fitz.
Right.
Downtown. And I'm working graveyard there, which is kind of a 12 to 8 was the graveyard that I worked with, midnight to 8 a.m. You know, it's been
That's
rough.
a good graveyard.
That's really?
That's a good graveyard.
Yeah, good graveyard.
If
So
you're
it's
going to be
12
on
to 8.
graveyard, I would love
Yeah.
to have a 4 to 12
Like a
swing
base shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was, you know, when I worked there, they were just building that parking lot. I'd already been there a couple months. They had this parking lot. It became a bit of a controversy, but because everybody was like fighting each other, I could park for free. You know, while they were figuring it out, there were no tickets. You
Nice.
just pulled in,
Yeah.
and then eventually it's like $40 to park down there, whatever the hell it was.
Right.
Now, I go working down there, and it was literally there were 14 of the same dealers every day that worked together. And it was so much like a family. Like you
Right.
went over people's houses, you went to
Right.
barbecues,
Right.
and I never experienced this. I never had this in my entire life.
Right.
Where you were this close to everybody, you knew everybody, and I worked with the same crew, the same bosses. You know, I went to the funeral of one of the bosses quite a while. You know, you just really knew these
Yeah.
people. They were really part of your
Sure.
life. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yep.
And it was great. You know, it was really a great job. So like this is when that guy stuck the rod up the dude's ass at the horseshoe. Okay, so this is a little bit of a tangent. Do you remember the story in Vegas? Do you remember that? There was some police that were downtown, and there was a guy at the horseshoe who was creating problems. They took him into the closet and they inspected all of his holes with a
Oh
baton.
my God.
And they didn't realize that the closet had a camera in it.
Oh my God.
And it went to trial. It was
Wow.
a sergeant and his like buddy.
Wow.
And
No, I
so,
never heard that story.
I gotta share that with you guys because this is
Never heard
another.
that
This is
story.
you can't make this shit up.
No,
This
you
is
can't.
Vegas like all in all its glory. So I'm working at the how are the deals? Dealers at the horseshoe. Well, nowadays, back in the day, they were great. They were some of the best crap dealers on the planet.
Yeah.
They were some of the best dealers on the planet.
Yeah.
You had to be ready for everything. Like literally, from a guy playing $1 to some guy playing $100,000.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
big.
Yep.
But you had to be able to handle all your drugs, take a few shots. You know what I'm saying? There was a camaraderie there.
The horseshoe, well, all the downtown places, you could tap off the game on your break, go across the street, get a drink, whatever.
Sassy
come back.
Sally's, dude. They would pound them. There used to be
Yeah.
this tavern right behind the horseshoe,
Yeah.
and they'd be in there just pounding it down. Dude. I don't
Yeah.
know what the hell they hated about themselves so much.
I don't know,
They'd
but a lot of dealers did it back in the day. They would, on their break, go drink,
Yeah.
come back, tap
Or you
back
could
in, whatever.
you could go get high in the break room at the horseshoe. The security guards were not allowed to enter that break room. Swear to God.
Yeah.
You could go down. I had a friend of mine. He'd
Yep.
invite me over. I would be in my Golden Gate bow tie.
Right.
My bow tie.
Right. They knew
And
you
I would-
didn't work there.
They knew I didn't even work
Yep.
there. I'd go
Yep,
right to the
didn't matter.
flippin'. Nope. I go into the break room and just hotbox myself. I didn't even know hotboxing was a thing. but I didn't always have a, they would be like passing around, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You didn't
Just
even have to
enjoying
take
themselves.
You didn't even have to take it.
No.
You just had to stand there.
I only did it once,
breathe.
by the way. You just had to breathe. But my friend, we got just high as a kite.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I went to deal. It was interesting dealing dice high. I don't think I could deal a real game, but a bird game, who cared? No one really cared. Dude. All right, where are we? So I'm working at the Fitz.
Yep.
And while I'm working at the Fitz, it was fantastic because it's graveyard. And some of the worst gamblers ever play on graveyard. There's some of the best people, by the way, too, but some of the worst people.
Right.
One of the worst people is good.
The most degenerate of the degenerates.
No, these are the people that just stay all day to play, dude. They're in it to win.
Yeah.
They'll gamble all of it every time. These are the people that. And guess what? They had a bar there across from the crap table, where apparently the police went to unwind before they had to go to court for putting a baton up some guy's ass. You know what I'm saying? And so the sergeant, who you see him on the damn TV, and be watching his own shit on TV. And I'd be like, oh my God, that's the guy. He's just getting loaded, dude. Getting loaded on his way. He's, because what are you going to do before court? Court's at 6, dude. What else are you going to do but have a few drinks?
Right.
You don't want to go to court sober. Who wants to deal with that sober, dude? Come on now.
No.
That's big stuff right there. You want to go and say, hey, you want to be in a happy mood. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Dude, this guy, what's funny is he would sit, there was this, I know we love Ellis too, by the way. It's right behind.
Yeah.
Look at that. We're inside.
look at
We're
that.
at the top. We're in like the gallery. We're in a secret. We're in a secret area.
Private little room.
Little private room. We have Dennis as our audience. Hi, Dennis. Say hello. He's listening to. So we're there, and there was a woman that used to deal with the Four Queens. She was a flippin' dealer.
Okay.
And she would come in and she had to play this one machine. It was a dollar video poker, progressive. Starts at 4,000.
Right.
Every time it get to 5,000, that woman was in there playing this one machine.
All right.
Right next to her is Mr. Sergeant and his baton, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Sergeant Baton. We'll call him the Baton Sergeant,
Okay.
dude. He's
All
a little nifty critter over there, just working.
Right.
So she would sit there, and you can only imagine with these two, a dealer from the Four Queens. I don't think she had any idea who this guy was. And so she hit this video poker, and she would never tip. She was a dealer. She never tipped, not a single dollar. Bartender.
We hate her.
We
Go
hate
on.
her, yeah.
Yeah, we hate her.
This is one of the best places to play dice. $5 and $10 games, really fantastic. Dealers here are fantastic. Dennis, does my address still not exist? I might need a new cow.
No idea what that means.
I have no idea. We didn't need a new cow.
So she hit the royal. She didn't tip.
So she hits the roll, she doesn't tip. The bartender, I'm there, it's graveyard. He comes out the same time we do. He literally comes over to our crap table, it's dead. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, holy crap, I got the cop who's constantly trying to create this conversation. I got this woman who doesn't tip. What kind of, you know what I mean? What kind of job is this?
Right.
These are his only customers.
Right.
The non-tipping dealer and the cop with the baton, dude.
Oh my God.
I mean, what a joy, dude. What a joy. You're working through a lot of issues at this place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But anyway, so that was one of the experiences. So the Fitzgerald, I meet Carlos. He's like this Italian, Spanish, who no one knew what the hell he was, dude. But he had an accent. You could never figure out where the hell he was from.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, hey, I got a friend who's going to Louisiana. How would you like a job in Louisiana? And he's like, you could have a suit and you could be a boss in Louisiana. A boss? I'm like 25. I could be a boss? And he's like, yeah, I got the guy. I'm gonna juice you in. You could be a boss in Louisiana. Now, I'm making. He was Korean, old Alex. No. So he goes. He might have been Korean. No, he wasn't Korean. He was definitely Italian. He made me my first El Dente pasta. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this hard shells, dude? Why are you feeding me? Do you cook your pasta? Why aren't you cooking your pasta? And he's like, that's how we like it in Italy. And I'm like, what? Really? You break your teeth on this stuff, dude. What's going on? It's al dente. Anyway, so he calls somebody on his thing, and because he was one of those guys that, have you ever met these slick willies? They always got an in.
Oh yeah.
They know somebody.
Oh yeah.
And then you find out they don't know anybody. One guy was gonna juice me into Caesar's Palace. I took his card, went to Caesar's Palace, and the lady's like, honey, we don't know who this guy is.
Oh no.
We don't do that kind of stuff here.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm so embarrassed, dude.
Yeah.
He was the bingo man. He was like a bingo manager.
Oh,
You know what I mean? I'm like, no.
Jeez.
So I go and Where the hell am I? All right, so he calls somebody, supposedly comes back, oh yeah, I got you the job. I send them my information. I get hired
Right.
to
from
work as a
Louisiana.
boss in Louisiana
Nice.
as a floor supervisor. I didn't even think like I did ask how much I was going to get paid, but it wasn't too as clear. I don't know. I don't remember. For some reason, I get there, I still don't know what the hell I'm going to make. I get there. I'm making $300 a day at the Fitz, by the way. It's a great sleeper job.
Right.
14 dealers,
Right.
dude.
I bet you weren't making that much in the Louisiana.
$140 a day, dude, to be a boss. 140.
Right.
I had to drive my ass out to
Right.
Louisiana on a broken ass car. I get there, there's no place to live. I gotta live in a mobile
man.
home.
Oh, man.
At the back of a mobile home. Guarded against Cujo. You know what I mean? Like that. That's a Patriot story, by the way. But literally, I had to live in the back of a mobile home.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
started this job. It's Players in Lake Charles, Louisiana. For those of you out in the Houston area, there's only one boat at the time. Now there's quite a few. It's like a resort town. But there was nowhere to live. There were no hotels. It was just Lake
Wow.
Charles.
Wow.
And it's Merv Griffin's place. It's Players, Lake Charles. It's literally Merv Griffin.
Okay.
The best thing I would tell you about that place is I've never seen more money in my life.
Really?
$25 games. And they would run out of tins. They would have to use trash bags. I kid you not. Trash bags.
Wow.
They ran out of tins.
Wow.
They're going around mid-shift bringing the tins.
Wow.
They ran out of tins. They can't
my
put the money
God.
anymore. They got empty trash bags carried out.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
So one day Merv Griffin comes in. I wasn't much of a boss, by the way. I was a floor supervisor in some random hall,
Right.
and I have a pit manager there who I believe might be that Jackie girl. I remember this really nice woman with black hair, and who was my supervisor. And I was like so confused. I had never been a floor supervisor. I really wasn't sure what the hell I was supposed to do. I was watching blackjack games, which, as you know, not my
Right.
biggest game. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
I wasn't even watching a dice game. I was literally stuck
That's
in
crazy.
the back of the
Yeah,
thing
that's
watching
crazy.
like 4 blackjack games. And they're like, here's a card. I just want you to write on the card if there's any, $100. You know what I mean? I had no training.
Right.
I really had no idea what the hell I was.
Right.
All they knew was I was from Vegas. They were like, "Yay, Vegas!" And I was like, "Well, where do I go? What do I do?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this woman was very nice. She took me under her wing. She kind of worked everything out, explained, and it took a minute. And then I got used to it. I figured out what I got to open a game for the first time. Because I had never opened a table, by the way. I had never opened a table, and I had never closed a table.
Wow.
Because, dude, me? They're like, I'm the guy they send over in the middle of the shift because somebody dropped dead.
Okay.
I'm not the guy that they have opening a black. I'm a crap dealer.
Right.
I've been a crap. That's
Right.
all I know is
Right.
craps. You know what I mean? Like you, I didn't even know how to flip it. What the hell do you do with the cards when you put the cards on the middle of the table? You know what I mean?
Wash
Wash
the
the
cards?
cards. I didn't even know how to wash the cards.
Wow.
You know, it's funny because I got my first lesson in washing cards because I'm washing cards with this dealer, and they're all break-ins. Every deal is a break-in, by the way, because they all
man.
had to be local. They're
Oh,
all break-ins,
man.
dude. I'm a break-in. I'm basically a break-in, dude.
Right, right.
Watching other break-ins.
Right,
I don't
right.
know what the hell's going on.
Blind leading the blind.
This poor woman is trying to wash the cards, and she can't get them because you know the trick about how you get them loose and you just knock them, and they just go like that in 2 seconds. And I'm like leaning in, you can't touch the cards? What do you mean? I'm the supervisor. I'm leaning in, trying to help her get the cards, getting out. Like, what the hell are you doing? One day, mid-shift, someone comes over and they hadn't noticed I left the box on the table. I had left the card boxes. No one came and collected. I just didn't know.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I had left the card boxes, the jokers,
Wow.
you know what I mean? It was like, see that?
Wow.
It was okay. It was all right. It all worked out in the wash, but I had no idea. But there was this wonderful woman. I had this job, and I was no worse than some of the other things they had there. But Merv Griffin came on the boat with a little entourage, and I had seen Merv Griffin many years early on the Merv Griffin show. My parents had come out; they ran the LA Marathon, and that's the thing that we stopped. Out of all the things to go to when you're 8-year-old kid, Merv Griffin, dude.
Right.
I had no idea who the hell this guy was,
Right.
dude. I was still sucking my thumb. Dude, let's have some, you know what I mean? Cartoons. This guy's having all.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I go to Players in Lake Charles. I'm not all that excited about being in Lake Charles, I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean? There's only the one boat. I really wasn't sure what the hell. I really wanted to get back to dice, to be honest with you, right? And as much as I love the people there, it was a bit. We still had to go and sail. The boat it was a riverboat.
Right.
It would go out and leave the
Right.
dock and go around a little lake and come back and re-dock. And the people in Houston, they would line up for miles, dude. You guys in Houston, they couldn't get rid of their money fast enough, dude.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. They
Wow.
literally would bring tens of thousands of dollars on $500 limit tables. A guy would be in like 20 grand and be like, dude, you realize
You can't get
you
in.
can't get out. You're
Right, you're not
never
getting out of
seeing
this.
this money again. You better
Wow.
call your wife now and let her know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I would
Wow.
say blame it on the hookers, dude. I would be like, you know what I mean? Just don't even talk about the game. They just be like, listen, it was really expensive when I
right.
went out to Lake Charles. I got some shrimp and it was the best shrimp, you know what I mean? Something like this. But I meet a guy who's a director who is involved in surveillance and security. Really wonderful human being, and we get to be friends because you're looking for shit to do out there. There's not a lot of stuff to do. It's you can go fishing and stay at the mobile home. I mean, it's really not a lot to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I meet this guy. He's like, hey David, I hear you know dice. Why don't you help us open the Bella? He got a job at the Bella Baton Rouge. And at that time I'm only in Lake Charles probably 6 months, not very long to be honest. And I'm like, wow, I can open another boat with no money, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, so I drive out to Baton Rouge and they have an actual motel. I can find a house. It's not bad. And so I get to be part of the pre-opening team.
Right.
I get to be part of the team before the casino opens. I'm there 3 or 4 months before the casino opens. And originally, I was so anxious to get the hell out of Lake Charles. I was going to go there regardless and just wait. They were going to give me a job months later, before the boat opened, but not quite so early. But they had someone training in dice, and so they needed someone else. So that's how I got my introduction to teaching dice.
Got it.
And so I get out there. They see I know dice. It turns out that the casino manager is from Horseshoe. In Las Vegas, the Horseshoe in Las Vegas, and we start talking dice. An old dice guy, you know what I mean. And he sends me over to the training hall, and so that's where I get my first. Which, by the way, I had never taught dice before. I mean, I love dice. I knew dice, colors and units, all those things I had already sort of developed in my head.
Right.
And I thought of myself as a great dealer. I was one of those people that practiced all the time to perfect the game. And but I was a terrible teacher. It took me a minute to get down to become a teacher.
Right.
And because I realized that teaching something, doing something is not the same as teaching something.
right.
It's very different.
That's right.
You got to break it down fundamentally.
Yep.
And so it was a wonderful. I got to know these dealers, and they were just some really. When we opened the Bella Baton Rouge, okay, for anybody over Bella Baton, I was the pit manager. I was the dice pit manager, the Bella Baton Rouge, at 26 years old.
Wow.
Opening this pit with, I think, 5 games. I had 5 games, maybe 4 or 5 games. And every single dice dealer was a break-in. It was their first time ever dealing a live game.
Wow.
No audition, no pre-qual.
But you had trained them.
I had trained them.
Right.
And I knew all their names. I knew all their weaknesses. I knew how to interject. I knew the ones that could just, carry the game. I knew the ones that needed a little help. It was the best experience I'd ever had.
Wow.
I would, to this day, I would still be involved with that organization if it wasn't for, and this is where I was introduced to my first scandal in gaming. So this is the thing that colored all of my perceptions in the future. There was a floor supervisor who had 6 months, 7 months experience in the in a golf court, and had only been a dealer for a couple months. And I'm talking about this now. By the way, if that guy is still out there, F you. You know what I mean? Because you have no idea. I'm gonna share this with you guys. I've shared this on Patreon, but I'll share this with you. It's kind of a really interesting story. Argosy's not really around anymore. That was who owned the Bella Baton Rouge. But here's what happened. I'm there for about 8 months. So I'm there about 4 months before and 8 months into the thing. I love my job. I'm a dice pit manager. I'm making great money. I have a great house on Kenmore Avenue. I have a good friend of mine. He has a home in Gulfport, and I have all these really wonderful friends. I'm moving up in the world, and it's the first time I made any real money, making over $300 a day. again. You know, I
Right.
made the good money at the Fitz for a while.
Right.
But now I'm a manager.
Right.
I'm building a resume. My
Right.
credit. I got
Yeah.
a stable. Everything. I'm not waiting around job. And all of a sudden, one of the dealers who was really dear, who I gotten kind of close to. I would say we were friends. You know, but he tells me one day, he says, "Listen, this floor supervisor, the one that only had 6 months experience. So this guy only has 6 months experience total. 3 months as a dealer, 3 months as a supervisor. And they come to me before the boat opens and they said, David, we're gonna hire this floor supervisor. I just want you to know he's a little raw. And I'm like, why are you hiring him? Because there's so many other options, right? They're offering real money to come out here.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you hiring? Well, let's just say, you know, he has some family in the business, he's connected locally, all this stuff. Nonsense, right? I know right away he's one of these, you know, he's either kind of a bookie or, you know, something like this. But I don't know on what level. You know, I don't know what the whole story is. I do know that there's a lot of politics regarding this boat.
Right.
And because I'm a pit manager, I know it. I know now. Like, I don't know what happened to players like Charles. I don't know. You know, I won't pretend to know. I don't know what they got involved with. But I know that when Argosy was going to open the bell, they absolutely did not want to submit to any of the what do I call it? The corruption. Okay, they wanted to go about it and not be corrupt. You know what happened? You know what's the amazing thing? So we go out on one of our pre-trial runs, and back in those days, Louisiana, the minute that boat left shore, you were under the Coast Guard. It was the
Okay.
Coast Guard. So the Treasury, so the state was sort of the gaming commission, and I have a badge. I can show you guys the badge from there. Alex loves the picture of me because I'm in a suit. It's a big, but it was the Treasury Department, right? But once you went out, once the boat left the docks, it's a Coast Guard. Well, we get pulled over by the Coast Guard one day. They come on the boat and they shut us down. They literally shut down the boat. We hadn't opened yet. It was literally a
Right.
movement, and we're like, how the hell does a Coast Guard, a federal agency, shut down a boat? And it was for stupid stuff, because guess what? All those people are locals that work there, and some reason. So I heard through the grapevine, and you know, don't sue me. Argosy is no longer a thing, but they were trying not to pay off any locals in order to get everything approved and get the boat started. But in the end, they had no choice. They had to pay somebody off. I heard that they paid somebody off. I don't know if that's true. I heard that happened.
Right.
But I will tell you this. So here's what happened. So this guy comes and works in for me, and he's one of these shifty dudes. Right away, we don't get along. He's always wanted to go out and have a drink and talk business. What business, dude? I'm working this boat, and then I go home and do my own thing. I don't need to talk business with you, right?
Right.
But he always made me nervous. You know, he was a bit, you know, he's like this. Anyways, so dealer comes over to me and he says that this guy told him to push a stack of green, $500, to this guy that didn't buy in for any money, and they're waiting for like a marker, right? Normally, you know, you throw it on a marker lammer, $500
Right.
goes out, whatever the
Right.
case is, right?
Yep.
None of that happened, but he did it because that's a supervisor. You do what your supervisor tells you.
Right.
So he pushed a stack of green out, $500, and he tells me like the guy never bought in for anything. The guy never, no marker, no credit, nothing. And I'm like, well, that's curious. So that day I wasn't able to follow up. The very next day I was able to watch and really pay attention. And during that day, that shift, we got 20% battery. I think we're good. We're good for now. He put out 3 stacks of green, $1,500. So it turned out he was a bookie. He was a local bookie, and he was
wow.
paying his bets off on the table to these gamblers.
Wow.
You follow?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have part 2 next week. You have time Wednesday next week? Oh no, you're out. That's right. Wait, you can't go back Wednesday. This
It's all
is
right.
off.
I'm off Wednesday. I
We're
got
running
friends
out
that
of
we're going to a
battery,
concert.
but that's okay. We got 20%. We're good for 20%. Are we good for 20%? All right. I want to
For a
finish
little
this
bit
story.
longer.
So it ends up at a Burger King. It gets pretty cool actually. A little espionage. So anyway, like I'm a pit manager. I know that if I get busted, if anybody sees what's going on here, I get busted. I get part of this. I lose. I can no longer be in gaming. I can't be a dice dealer. I can't do anything. I'm out. My
Right.
background is forever tainted, right? So I report this to my boss, okay? And my boss sends a report into this investigative at Argosy Corporate. They give me time off. They send me, they tell me to take administrative leave from the boat. Okay, so any of you guys that are curious, why you never saw me again? Well, here's what happened. because a lot of people ask, like, what the hell happened to David? So they give me administrative leave. They scheduled to meet me at a Burger King. I swear to God, at a flippin' Burger King, a local Burger King. They told me to come in plain clothes to make sure I'm not followed. Yeah, I kid you not, dude. They said that they were afraid for my safety and wanted to make sure it was a very neutral place with people. Yeah. So apparently this guy was connected somehow.
Wow.
And if I was gonna file this report, that it could if they found out it was me and I was, let's say, the rat, right?
Right.
He was cheating. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand.
Right.
This isn't. I'm not dealing drugs. I'm not. You know,
Right.
I'm not a gun exchange. You know what I mean? It's just I was doing my job as a pit manager, right?
Right.
And I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to not have a job in the gaming business. They have cameras. There's cameras. They're going to catch
Right.
this man.
Yeah.
How would they not catch this man? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I meet these two investigators in a parking lot, and they tell me, listen, we're going to run this up the chain. Here's my card. You probably can't go back to work for the Belle of Baton Rouge. That they literally, the guy gives me a card. He writes on the back of the card a phone number to someone in Vegas at the Players that used to be in Mesquite. And he's like, I'm gonna send you there and a guaranteed job at this casino. We worked with them before. You know this guy, whatever. He's gonna hook me up. I got no job. I got nothing to do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now that's not what happened. I stayed. I became a consultant. I worked on some other stuff, but I couldn't believe it. I was out a whole career because I actually told them that this guy was cheating on the game and literally moving this money off the table.
Wow.
And that they were. So here's the thing. So I have this guy's card. Okay. Fast forward about 7-8 months. I finally leave Louisiana. I go back, and of course, Players is in the process of being sold and becoming another, and no one knows who the hell this guy is who gave me the card.
Right.
And sometime later, this guy that gave me the card, and you're out there, buddy. I hope that we have got your profile where it comes back and you realize it created such a hardship for me. You have no idea. I went from being, having this great life and improving my credit and saving money. I couldn't find a job when I came back to Vegas.
The guy who gave you the card, or the guy
who gave me the card?
Oh, wow.
Well, that too. The guy that gave me the card promised me a job coming back to Vegas. He had the hookup and everything else.
Right.
I did the right thing, and I got dismissed. That administrative leave was so weird because originally they were like, well, I thought that they were just doing an investigation. They had to make sure I wasn't involved.
Right.
And that ultimately I would just go back to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I told everybody I was a pit manager.
Right.
I was having a backup shift a couple days a week sometimes. Backup shift. I would get ridiculous. Great.
Do you ever think about where you might be now if that had never happened?
I would have been a boss, so I wouldn't be here, which is great. So everything happens for a reason.
Right.
But a lot of times, here I was at 26 years old. I was a backup shift manager. I would have been a table game director. I would have gone to other levels.
Of course.
But because this happened, I was literally eliminated. I went through all my savings. So I went to Louisiana. I did get another consulting job. I worked for a little bit. I won some money. I bought a car. I got back to Vegas, but then I couldn't find a job. I went through all my savings. It was really, really tough. I ended up remember that girl that invited me? Remember that HR director at the IP?
Yeah.
I gave her a call and she offered me a job and a date.
Wow.
And she paid for dinner, dude. It was fantastic. And then it was a terrible money. I had to leave. And then I was able to, I ended up at the Rio. And a guy named Earl, a shift boss, I auditioned at the Rio. And strangely enough, I wasn't nervous, dude. I was ready. I remember I was at this shithole apartment, and I had been writing down all the prompts and getting ready and practicing. I needed to ace this. I finally got the audition scheduled, which was tough.
Right.
The Rio didn't audition anybody. They wanted 5-year dealers.
Right.
It was the top job in town.
Right.
And they put you on one of the hardest games. They wanted us to see you deal the good stuff. Mm-hmm. And there were no easy games. That place was going nonstop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I got hired there about 3 months before the Masquerade Village. So whenever the hell that, 96, something like this, or 97.
I got hired in 96, April of 96.
Yeah.
And they were building the Masquerade Village at the time. And then over the summer, we all got put on call.
Yeah.
And then the Masquerade Village and the new high limit and all that.
Yep.
And December of 96 maybe?
Yeah.
So you probably came in sometime around September?
September 96, I think.
So I was there, maybe 5 months, 6
Before
months
me.
earlier than you.
So about 3 months before the open Masquerade, because I started the main pit, then they moved me to the carnival. what they call the carnival pit
Yep.
or masquerade pit.
With the loud, with
All
the
the
show
loud
and the
shows.
music, and yeah.
And I was back from that. Then I had dead set myself on never being a boss again. I no longer wanted.
Right.
I just didn't want to be a boss.
Right.
I didn't want the responsibility. I didn't want to be put in that position. I didn't want to be taken. I wanted to deal dice.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know, years later, when you know, I came back to that. I've been offered many times to become a pit manager or something like this. Always about dice. And anyways, and that's why we're here.
It says happy you're here. Everything you went
Can
through
you
made
imagine?
you who you are. Yeah.
I mean, if that hadn't happened, but there's still a lot of people who wonder, like, what there are people that might come across this. I would love for you. They wonder, like, what happened? Why did David? Because that's why.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
literally, they pushed me the hell out.
Everybody. She said
Yeah.
she could listen to us for hours.
I know.
I think it was
Yeah.
a sheep, right?
All right, thank you guys so much. Here, I'm gonna.
We are
scroll
running
out.
low on battery. We need
are
to
running low on
give
battery.
away the hat because we have 158 likes.
Holy smokes! We gotta give a hat. All right,
gotta
ready?
give a hat.
You come up. What's the word?
What's the word?
Word is the bird.
Okay, bird. Bird.
Really?
Bird is the word.
Oh
Why
my
not?
God, bird. All right,
Bird.
let's do it. Bird. Bird is the word. Knock it out. And then Dennis is here. We're gonna give away. What are we gonna give away? A hat or a
A hat.
shirt?
You said a hat for 100 and a shirt. We didn't hit 200.
All right, you guys can choose a hat or a shirt.
Bird, 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 bird.
I think either one or a hat. Man, there it is. There it goes. Cakes and pies.
That's
Cakes and pies.
That's
Cakes
right.
and pies.
Go, 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 go.
All right, you tell them when to stop.
Tell Dennis when to stop.
Oh, give him a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Dude. Give him a second. Let him load it up.
I love it. I love it.
Look at it. Someone put in Derb. They got the
That's
spell
okay.
check is off a little
Yeah.
bit here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a super chat. Yeah.
Yay.
All right, here we go. All right, now I think it's plenty.
Ready? Okay, stop.
Rock it.
1 through 12?
Go. We'll let you call it.
What's today? The second? We'll say 2.
2.
So we have what's this? Fly River.
Who?
Fly River.
Fly River?
Yeah.
Fly River.
You are the winner. Tweet, tweet. Oh yeah. It's Fly River. Steam is whacked. Yeah.
So
yeah.
what do they have to do? They have to email us. Don't put it on this chat. Email us your address and.
No, he's hooking
Oh,
them up.
Dennis
Yeah,
is taking
Dennis
care
has
of it.
got this too. We
Dennis
don't know.
is good. He's taking
We don't
care
know
of
what
it.
the hell. Like, you know,
Congratulations, Fly River.
Congratulations, you win a hat.
Yeah, yeah.
If we really like you, maybe a shirt.
Maybe,
you know what I'm
you
saying?
never know.
But anyways, we really loved having you guys. It's a wonderful. By the way, the street behind us is under so much construction. If you don't already know, Formula One, that Grand Prix Center is literally like right down the street, and it's massive construction. And then the other side is the MSG Sphere. I mean, there's a lot going on.
It's so hard to get here.
It's ridiculous.
From
how
no
to get
matter
there.
what direction you're
Yeah.
coming.
No,
Yeah.
100%.
But, you know, we're here because we love you guys.
Yeah, we do love you guys. Thank you so much for all your support, keeping us alive. And we really enjoy having you. Just so you know, by the way, we have slot videos going out. Timmy, our master editor, Timmy, is working on our CQ slots.
Timmy!
So we have another channel. You'll see us playing some slots, maybe in the
Is
Lauren.
north behind us? No, it's south behind us. Whoever just asked that question. Behind us is the south.
Yeah, south, yeah.
South.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
South. And yeah, so check us out on CQ Slots. So we're getting some slot videos up there slowly but surely. We're going to teach you some Keno, huh? One went out today. How exciting, everybody. Oh my
Nice.
God. Next one's on Friday. Good job, Timmy. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you in Vegas. Bye.
Bye.